Article 1. Stephen Hawking. Source: ChatGPT. Stephen Hawking, January 8, 1942 – March 14, 2018, was a renowned British theoretical physicist and cosmologist known for his outstanding contributions to the field of black hole physics and cosmology. Hawking suffers from a rare form of ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, which causes him to gradually lose his physical ability and rely only on a wheelchair and a speech synthesizer to communicate, but he still has great achievements in the field of science. His masterpiece A Brief History of Time explains complex theories of the universe in an easy-to-understand manner, helping many people understand cutting-edge theories such as the origin of the universe and black holes. Hawking's research had a profound impact on cosmology, the thermodynamics of black holes, and the development of the Big Bang theory, making him one of the emblematic figures of modern physics. Source: Wikipedia. Stephen William Hawking, Ch. CBE, FRS, FRSA, January 8, 1942 – March 14, 2018, was a British theoretical physicist, cosmologist, and popular science writer, and was the research director of the Centre for Theoretical Cosmology at the University of Cambridge. He has made many scientific contributions, including his collaboration with Roger Penrose on the Penrose-Hawking singularity theorem within the framework of general relativity, and his theoretical prediction that black holes emit radiation, now known as Hawking radiation. Stephen Hawking was the first to propose a theory of cosmology explained by the combination of general relativity and quantum mechanics. He is an active proponent of the many-world interpretation of quantum mechanics. Stephen Hawking is a recipient of the Royal Society for Literature and Art Prize, FRSA, a life member of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, and a recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the United States. In 2002, Hawking was ranked 25th in the BBC's 100 Greatest Britons poll. From 1979 to 2009, Hawking was the Lucas Professor of Mathematics at the University of Cambridge. Stephen Hawking has written a number of popular science books expounding his theories and general cosmology, which have been widely acclaimed. His book, Treasures of Time, From the Big Bang to Black Holes, was a record-breaking Sunday Times bestseller for 237 weeks. Hawking has a rare early-onset slow-progressing motor neuron disease, also known as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS, that progressively worsens to severity over time. In his later years, he was paralyzed and unable to speak, and had to rely on speech-generating devices to communicate with others. Initially the device is used by a handheld switch, and eventually by using a unilateral cheek muscle. On March 14, 2018, Hawking's family issued a statement saying that Hawking died at the age of 76. The burial ceremony of his ashes was held in the chapel of the nave of Westminster Abbey in London on June 15, 2018. Stephen Hawking was born on January 8, 1942 in Oxford, England. His father was Frank Hawking, 1905 to 1986, and his mother Isabel Hawking, 1915 to 2013. Frank majored in medicine and Isabel studied philosophy, political science, and economics. After the outbreak of World War II, Frank wanted to serve his country in the army, but his superiors thought that he could make a more valuable contribution to the country if he engaged in research, so he worked as a researcher at a medical research institute, where Isabel also found a job as a secretary. It was there that they met, fell in love, and got married. They married and lived in Highgate, a suburb near London, during the Nazi bombing of England, which lasted for months. The couple were forced to decide that Isabel should relocate to the safer safety of Oxford to give birth to the baby. Hawking's birth coincided with the 300th anniversary of the death of Galileo Galilei, the father of modern science. After the birth of Stephen Hawking, Isabel returned to Highgate. Hawking had two younger sisters, Philippa and Marie, and when Stephen was 14 years old, he had an adopted younger brother, Edward. In 1950, Hawking's father, Frank, rose to the position of head of the parasitology department at the National Institute of Medical Research, a well-known academic field, and the family later moved to St Albans in Hertfordshire. There, the Hawkings were considered a bit of a quirky high intellectual. They love to read books, and everyone has their hands on them, and even during mealtime, visiting guests often observe them silently eating and reading books. They lived a modest life, with a large but poorly maintained house and a converted London taxi. While Hawking's father was often absent from work in Africa, the rest of the family travelled to Mallorca for 4 months to visit his mother's friend Beryl and her poet husband, Robert Graves. Hawking was born at Highgate's Byron Aristocratic School. However, Hawking blamed the school for promoting a progressive pedagogy that he did not learn how to read. 8-year-old Hawking transferred to St Albans Girls' High School after his family moved to St Albans. Despite the strange name of the school, it was a girls' secondary school, but it admitted many students below the age of entry into secondary school, and at that time the school's Michael Hall could also admit male students. After a few months at St Albans Girls' College, Hawking transferred to Ladray College in Raydray, Hertfordshire, where he attended a year where he received good grades enough to attend the elite St Albans College in September 1952, an independent school in St Albans, Hertfordshire. He took Raydray's exam a year earlier than normal in elementary school. The Hawking family values education, and Hawking's father wanted his son to attend the highly regarded Westminster School, but 13-year-old Hawking fell ill on the day of his scholarship exams and was unable to take them. Due to the high cost of tuition at that school, Hawking's family could not afford the tuition without the financial aid of the scholarship, so he had to stay at St Albans Public School. For Hawking, the positive outcome of not being able to attend Westminster is that Hawking has a group of friends who have grown up together, and they share hobbies, such as playing board games, making firecrackers, model airplanes, model boats, and engaging in lengthy discussions about Christianity and extrasensory perception. When Hawking was 15 years old, he learned that the universe was expanding, and he was amazed that he didn't think it was true. The static universe seems so natural that it continues forever. It is inconceivable that the expanding universe will expand over time and eventually become a vacuum. Under the guidance of math teacher Declan Tarda, they made a rare computer out of clock parts, old phone parts and other recycled parts. Although nicknamed Albert Einstein at school, Hawking was not successful academically at first. As time progressed, he began to show considerable talent for scientific topics, and inspired by Mr. Tarda, Hawking decided to study mathematics at university. Hawking's father, concerned about the lack of employment opportunities for mathematics graduates, suggested that he major in medicine and asked his son to attend his alma mater, University College, Oxford. However, there was no major in mathematics at the University College, so Hawking decided to major in physics and chemistry. Despite the Chancellor's suggestion to wait until next year to enter, Hawking received almost perfect marks in the physics section of his entrance exam in March 1959. The interview went well, and he was awarded a scholarship to study physics at Oxford University. Hawking enrolled in University College, Oxford, in October 1959 at the age of 17. For the first 18 months, he felt bored and lonely because he found his college homework so simple that it made people laugh. His physics mentor, Robert Berman, praised Hawking as one of the most brilliant of the students he taught, and later said, "He just needs to know what questions have answers, and he can give them, without having to look at how others have them." Hawking's sophomore and junior years of college changed dramatically, and according to Berman, Hawking tried hard to be one of the boys, and he became a lively, popular, and funny member of the university. He enjoys listening to classical music and reading science fiction. A major factor in his transition was his participation in the Oxford College Rowing Club and becoming the helmsman of a rowing team. The coach noted that Hawking had a risk-taking spirit and enjoyed leading his teammates on dangerous and convenient routes, which often led to damage to the clippers. Hawking worked hard to nurture his relationships with his classmates, and he would never tell anyone if they didn't know what he was capable of physics. Studying physics at the University of Oxford requires 3 years of coursework, during which there are no exams, except for a final exam, which must be passed to obtain a bachelor's degree. Hawking estimated that he read an average of about 1 hour a day, and that he read a total of 1,000 hours during his 3 years at Oxford. Hawking was fully aware of his situation, and he decided to answer only the theoretical physics questions and ignore the ones that required practical knowledge. At that time, there were 2 cutting-edge fields of research in theoretical physics, one was cosmology and the other was particle physics. Hawking found cosmology to be challenging, involving many deep and mysterious questions, and the most famous cosmologist in Britain at the time was Cambridge professor Fred Hoyle, while there were no professors at Oxford who focused on cosmology. Hawking wanted to study with Hoyle, but his postgraduate study of cosmology at Cambridge University was conditional on him graduating with first-class honors. The night before his graduation exam, an overly nervous Hawking tossed and turned, and the end result was that his grades were on the boundary between first-class and second-class honors, so he had to take an oral exam. Hawking was worried that he was seen as a lazy and difficult student, so when the examiner asked him about his future plans during the oral examination, he subtly replied, "If you give me a first-class honor, I will go to Cambridge for further study. If I had a second-class honors, I would have stayed at Oxford, so I think you would give me a first honors." He was able to earn a higher first-class honors bachelor's degree than he had expected. Berman commented on the incident, "The examiners were wise enough to know that they were talking to someone who was far more intelligent than most people there." After graduating with first-class honors and honors diploma in the natural sciences, Hawking traveled with friends to Iran before commencing his postgraduate studies at Trinity College, Cambridge University, in October 1962. Hawking faced a lot of difficulties in his first year as a PhD student at the University of Cambridge. He discovered that the assigned instructor was Dennis Shalmer, one of the founders of modern cosmology, and although Sharmer was enthusiastic about his students and willing to take the time to discuss and prioritize their needs, he was only a lecturer at the time and was not well known in the academic world, and Hawking was eager to become a student of the famous Yorkshire astronomer Fred Hoyle, so he was initially disappointed by the assignment of the college. In addition, he found his mathematical knowledge to be difficult to cope with the calculations of general relativity and cosmology. After being diagnosed with motor neuron disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Hawking was depressed and felt that there was no point in continuing his PhD, even though doctors advised him to continue his studies. As Hawking's condition gradually deteriorated more slowly than doctors expected, although he had to rely on crutches when he walked and his speech was difficult to understand, the doctor's initial diagnosis that he would only live for 2 years was unfounded, and that he was far from completely incapacitated. With Professor Shalmer's encouragement, Hawking returned to his abandoned studies. At that time, there were 2 main theories about the beginning of the universe in physics, the Big Bang theory and the steady-state theory. In the 60s, the predictions of the steady-state theory were found to be inconsistent with astronomical observations, for example, by counting the sources of radio waves distributed in the universe, and the master of radio astronomy Martin Lyell found in 1962 that the universe did not seem to be as homogeneous as predicted by the steady-state theory. Hoyle and his students modified the theory of steady-state to compensate for the difference. Hawking found their results flawed and published a paper to revise their arguments. Hawking thought that the future of homeostasis theory could be quite bumpy, and he decided not to focus his doctoral dissertation on homeostasis theory. In June 1964, Hawking in a lecture openly challenged Fred Hoyle's research with his student Jayant Naraka, beginning to build a reputation for talent and self-righteousness. In 1965, Arnold Penzias and Robert Wilson of Bell Labs measured cosmic background radiation, completely destroying the homeostatic theory. Inspired by Roger Penrose's theory of the spacetime singularity at the center of a black hole in 1965, Hawking applied the same idea to the universe as a whole, reversing the direction of time, and adopted this thesis as the topic of his doctoral dissertation, The Nature of the Expansion of the Universe, which was approved by the Academy in 1966. In the same year, he was awarded a Gonville and Case College Graduate Scholarship. In March 1966, Hawking was awarded a PhD in Applied Mathematics and Theoretical Physics, specializing in general relativity and cosmology, and his dissertation, Singularities and Geometry of Spacetime, won the Adams Prize that year, along with Penrose's thesis. Sharma proudly said that Hawking's academic achievements were comparable to that of Isaac Newton. 1966–1975. Using the mathematical techniques developed by Penrose in his previous study of singularities, Hawking's team obtained many important results about the existence and physical behavior of the Big Bang. Hawking and George Ellis discovered in 1968 that the existence of cosmic background radiation confirms that the universe did indeed have a Big Bang. Hawking collaborated with Robert Gilot and Penrose to extend the singularity theorem. They showed that the universe must have an initial singularity, from which time and space evolved. Hawking's paper on the first time, which he co-wrote with Penleth, won second place in the 1968 Gravity Research Grant Competition. The following year, Hawking received a special scholarship for excellence in science from Gonville and Case College, which provided him with a salary for 6 years of research at Case College. In 1970, Hawking and Penrose published a paper showing that if the universe adhered to the general theory of relativity and contained enough matter, as is observed today, it must have started at the Big Bang singularity. The following year, Hawking's paper Black Holes won first place in the Gravity Research Grant Competition. Hawking and Ellis co-authored The Large-Scale Structure of Spacetime was published in 1973, which is Hawking's first book, which has now become a classical text, mainly to explore the basic structure of spacetime, from the particle physics scale of 10 to 13 cm to the cosmological scale of 1028 cm, the application of differential geometry to test the two consequences of general relativity. The first consequence is the formation of black holes and the singularities contained in the collapse of stars, and the second consequence is the existence of singularities at the beginning of the universe. After the study of singularities came to an end, Hawking began to shift his focus and began to study black holes. In 1971, he published 3 important papers. The first paper suggested that there may be a new kind of object in the universe, called a primary black hole, which was a microscopic black hole made by high temperature and pressure in the earliest moments of the Big Bang. The second paper partially proves the hairless theorem, which states that no matter how a black hole is formed, it has only 3 properties: mass, angular momentum, and electric charge. The third paper stated that the surface area of the event horizon of a black hole would never decrease, and that the surface area of the merged 2 black holes would not be less than the sum of the original surface areas, a finding that was later named the second law of black hole thermodynamics. Because no particle can escape from the surface of the black hole, the mass of the black hole can only increase, not decrease, and since the surface area of the event horizon of a black hole is determined by its mass, the surface area can only increase, not decrease. According to the second law of thermodynamics, isolated systems spontaneously evolve in the direction of the thermodynamic maximum entropy state. Hawking argues that an increase in the surface area of a black hole is much like an increase in entropy, but this is just an analogy. However, Jacob Bekenstein, a graduate student of John Wheeler, insisted that the surface area of a black hole could be used to measure entropy. If a bunch of entropy-containing matter were dropped into a black hole, the black hole's entropy would inevitably increase, which would be reflected in the increase in the black hole's mass. Hawking felt that Bekenstein was wrong. If a black hole had entropy, its temperature must be measured, it would emit energy, but no particles could escape from the inside of the black hole. Between 1972 and 1973, Hawking collaborated with James Bardeen and Brandon Carter to propose 4 laws of thermodynamics for black holes. The form of these laws looks a lot like the laws of thermodynamics. But Stephen Hawking strongly states that black holes cannot radiate any energy, so black holes do not have entropy. After the publication of The Large-Scale Structure of Spacetime, Hawking began to focus on quantum gravity, a combination of quantum mechanics and general relativity. Russian physicists Yakov Zeldovich and Alexei Stabinsky deduced from the uncertainty principle that a rotating black hole emits particles that are made from the rotational energy of the black hole in the adjacent region outside the event horizon, and therefore consumes the rotational energy of the black hole until the black hole is no longer spinning. Intrigued by the research, Hawking and his friend Kip Thorne traveled to Russia to visit Zeldovich and Stabinsky, who had worked together on academic research with Russian physicists over the past 5 years, and had built a rich network there. After the meeting, Hawking felt that the Russian scholars' mathematical methods were a little rough and that he could give better results, but after careful calculations, he found a surprising result: not only the rotating black hole, but even the stationary black hole will continue to emit particles, and its energy spectrum is consistent with the physical properties of thermodynamic blackbody radiation. This result contradicts the second law of black hole thermodynamics and supports Bekenstein's inference about entropy. In 1974, Stephen Hawking presented a paper Black Hole Explosion. In this paper, he elaborates that there are many pairs of virtual particles in the adjacent region outside the event horizon. Each pair of virtual particles is composed of a positive energy particle and a negative energy particle, with a total energy of 0, and usually, these virtual particle pairs will annihilate each other for a short time after their appearance, in order to satisfy the uncertainty principle, but if the negative energy particle passes through the event horizon before annihilation, it can survive in the black hole, and the positive energy particle can also escape to infinity, so the energy will be radiated out. The mass of the black hole gradually decreases, which is the mechanism by which macroscopic black holes emit radiation. In the case of macroscopic black holes, the emissivity is inversely proportional to the mass, and it is difficult to observe this phenomenon, called Hawking radiation, due to the interference of cosmic microwave background radiation. For example, a black hole with a mass of the Sun, 1030 kilograms, has a Hawking radiation temperature of 10 to 7 K, which is much lower than the cosmic microwave background temperature, 2.7 K. The lifetime of a black hole is proportional to the cubic of its mass. Assuming that the mass of the black hole is 1012 kilograms, its lifetime is about 1010 years of the age of the universe. Assuming that the black hole is a primitive black hole formed at the beginning of the universe, it should evaporate. The black hole evaporates. In the near future, the temperature is about 1011 K, and a large amount of gamma rays are emitted, but the luminosity is much lower than that of a gamma ray burst. This is despite the fact that no scientists have actually observed such events so far. The paper immediately shocked the entire cosmological community. Zeldovich was initially reserved, but after a rigorous examination, he could not help but admit that Hawking was right. Professor Charman praised, "This is one of the most beautiful papers in the history of physics. The most impressive thing is that most of Hawking's calculations are done inside his head," and Hawking modestly explains that most people mistakenly think that mathematics is just equations, when in fact, equations are just the boring part of mathematics, and I try to look at things in terms of geometry. In 1974, Caltech hired him as the Sherman Fairchild Distinguished Visiting Professor, and in addition to a good salary, housing, a car, and children's education, he was provided with an electric wheelchair and all medical needs. In the same year, he was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society at the age of 32, one of the youngest. Although Hawking's paper was highly controversial, in the late 70s, after further research and discussion, this breakthrough in theoretical physics was finally widely accepted by the academic community. 1975–1990. Hawking returned to Cambridge University in 1975 as a university professor. At that time, there was a strong interest in black holes and the physicists who studied them, and interviews with Hawking could often be seen in newspapers, magazines, and television media. He has also been praised many times by the academic community for his achievements in cosmology. In 1975, he and Penrose were awarded the Eddington Medal for their work in the field of relativity. In the same year, he was awarded the Gold Medal of Pius XI. The following year, he was awarded the Maxwell Prize, the Heinemann Prize, and the Hughes Medal. In 1977, he was promoted to chair professor of gravity physics. The following year, he was awarded the Albert Einstein Prize and an honorary doctorate from the University of Oxford. The Lucas Professorship in Mathematics is the highest honorary position conferred on physicists at the University of Cambridge. In 1979, Hawking became the 17th Lucas Professor. His inaugural lecture was titled "Are We Coming to the End of Theoretical Physics?" In his speech, Hawking frankly predicted that quantum mechanics and general relativity would be merged before the end of the century, and that the n=8 theory of hypergravity would be the preferred theory of everything. The theory of hypergravity is derived from the theory of supersymmetry, and the n=8 theory of hypergravity predicts that gravitons have 8 supersymmetric partners, i.e., 8 types of gravitneutrinos, hence the name, and it is the only theory that can correctly describe four-dimensional spacetime. This is a very complex theory, with 154 other particles that have yet to be discovered, in addition to the aforementioned gravitons and trivinos. At the end of his speech, Hawking predicted that computers would surpass the human brain in terms of the ability to study theoretical physics, and that if this is not the end of theoretical physics, it could be the end of theoretical physicists. During that time, Hawking was sent to a nursing home for a time due to Wilder's severe cold, and did not return home until both men had recovered. Since then, Hawking has reluctantly accepted some home health care services. Initially, he felt that it would be an invasion of his private life, but later, he found that it would also bring a lot of convenience. In order to discover the mysteries of the universe more quickly, Hawking decided to change his approach to physics. Instead of insisting on solid mathematical proofs, he became more intuitive and speculative. He told Thorne, "Between right and strict, I'd rather choose the right one. Rigor isn't necessarily the best way to get the right results, and sometimes, over-attention to detail can lead to losing sight of the big picture." In 1981, a physics conference was held at the San Francisco mansion of critical thinker Werner Erhard. In the meeting, Hawking proposed the black hole paradox, because black holes emit Hawking radiation in the same spectrum as ideal thermal radiation. When the black hole eventually disappears due to Hawking radiation, all information will be irreversibly lost. In black holeology, information refers to the type, properties, and configuration of particles. Hawking seriously warned that the loss of information is a major crisis in physics, because it means that the future cannot be predicted according to the theories of physics. The black hole paradox violates the fundamental principle of quantum mechanics, the law of conservation of information. The universe does not lose any information. The black hole paradox was the subject of a heated debate that lasted for years, and the controversy between Hawking and Leonid Susskind and Gerald 't Hooft began in what became known as the Black Hole Wars. Hawking applies Richard Feynman's original method of sum history to the study of the origin of the universe, which involves every possible history of the sum universe, that is, the events that could occur in each world line of time and space. This means that the boundary conditions of the universe must be taken into account. In 1981, at a conference hosted by the Pontifical Academy of Sciences, Hawking presented his paper Cosmic Boundary Conditions. He proposed that the universe might have no boundaries, no origin or end. 2 years later, together with James Harto, he proposed a boundaryless model of the universe. Before Planck's time, the universe had no space-time boundaries due to the uncertainty principle of quantum mechanics. Before the Big Bang, time did not exist, and the concept of the origin of the universe was meaningless. The initial singularity of the classical Big Bang model was changed to resemble the Arctic region. The North Pole is where all north-facing lines intersect and end, and there is no further north than the North Pole. Stephen Hawking has done a lot of research on the arrow of time. In a paper published in 1985, he claimed that if the borderless proposal was correct, the universe would eventually stop expanding and begin to collapse, in which time would pass in the opposite direction. This argument is highly controversial. Don Page, a student he once supervised, published a paper refuting this result. After much effort, Peggy and another student, Raymond Laframme, managed to convince Hawking to admit his mistake and withdraw the concept. Hawking received more medals for his previous research excellence. In 1981, he was awarded the Franklin Medal. The following year, he was awarded the Order of the British Empire, CBE. In order to finance his children's education and family life, Hawking decided to write a popular science book that could be understood by the general public and explain the mysteries of the universe. Instead of finding an academic publisher to do the distribution, he signed a contract with a commercial publisher and received a large upfront payment. The first draft of the book, entitled A Brief History of Time, was completed in 1984. After several editions, the book was published in 1988. The book quickly soared to #1 bestseller in the United States and the United Kingdom, and held that position for many months, quickly selling 1 million copies. By 2001, the book had been translated into at least 35 languages and sold more than 9 million copies. Stephen Hawking has become a mass star, and various media outlets have rushed to report about him. Newsweek magazine even published a portrait of him on the cover, calling him the master of the universe. Although Hawking made a lot of money, he had become a public figure by this time and had to face a lot of new challenges. But he enjoyed it, and he traveled everywhere, pitching his writings, and often attending parties and balls until midnight. Hawking seems unable to turn down invitations, and he rarely visits visitors, so he spends less time doing research, and even his students feel that he has too many extracurricular activities. Hawking's popularity has caused some sour grapes to be jealous, who believe it is all because of Hawking's physical impairment. Despite this, he continues to receive various honors, including 5 honorary degrees and 7 international awards. In 1988, he was awarded the Wolf Prize with Penrose for important research on the general theory of relativity, which shows the necessity of cosmic singularities and the physics associated with black holes. The following year, Queen Elizabeth II conferred an honorary order on him in recognition of his significant contribution to the country. 1990–2000. Although he had to run a lot of PR campaigns, Hawking was able to spare some time to do research. In 1993, Hawking, in collaboration with Gary Gibbons, edited some of the lecture notes on the Euclidean method of expressing quantum gravity into the book Euclidean Quantum Gravity. Hawking also edited his own essay on the Big Bang and black holes into a book, Hawking on the Big Bang and Black Holes. Of the 37 papers he has published, he has authored 16 papers alone or co-authored. The following year, Hawking and Penrose will publish a book entitled The Nature of Time and Space in a series of 6 lectures at the Newton Institute in Cambridge. In this work, Hawking emphasizes that, according to positivism, physical theory is only a mathematical model, and whether it corresponds to physics is really a meaningless question. One can only demand that the predictions of physical theories conform to experimental observations. This statement has angered many critics, many of whom argue that there may be a physical reality behind the problem that is incomprehensible, but that it is impossible to observe. Stephen Hawking insisted that it was pointless to discuss questions like the existence of wormholes, because there has never been a model-independent picture of physical reality, but that doesn't mean that there is no physical reality independent of the model, and if I don't think there is, then I won't be able to continue my physical research. The Nature of Spacetime chronicles a debate between the positivist Stephen Hawking and the realist Penrose on how quantum mechanics and general relativity, 2 highly successful but still heavily controversial theories, could be combined into a theory of quantum gravity that explains the properties of spacetime. Hawking once made a bet with Caltech professors Thorne and John Pesky in 1991 that the proposition was that singularities should normally appear inside black holes and cannot be observed from outside the event horizon, but do naked singularities that appear outside the event horizon? Hawking supports Penrose's hypothesis of cosmic censorship, arguing that naked singularities do not exist, while Thorne and Pesky hold opposing views. In 1997, Princeton University professor Dmitry Christodler's theoretical calculations and Matthew Choechuk's computer simulations suggested that in very special cases, naked singularities could occur. Hawking had no choice but to throw in the towel because of this technical detail. Later, Stadler revised his theoretical calculations, and he found that Hawking may have raised the white flag a little earlier. Hawking is still haunted by the matter, and he decides to make another bet with Thorne and Piesky, and the proposition is changed in more detail to whether there is a naked singularity under normal conditions. In the same year, Stephen Hawking, the king of black hole bets, made another bet with Thorne and Piesky, this time involving the black hole paradox. Hawking and Thorne argue that the information swallowed by a black hole is forever cut off from the outside universe and will never be revealed, even when the black hole evaporates and disappears completely. Piesky disagrees, convinced that a correct theory of quantum gravity would provide mechanisms to explain how Hawking radiation releases information from black holes. Stephen Hawking has been instrumental in his work to introduce science to the wider public. The film version of Treasures of Time, directed by L.O. Morris and produced by Steven Spielberg, officially premiered at the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences in Hollywood in 1992. Originally, Hawking thought that the film should focus on describing scientific theories rather than characters, as his books did. However, he later found out that most of the content was about characters, and he changed his mind very easily, thinking that it was a good thing, but he did not disclose his private life in front of the camera. Although the film received a lot of critical acclaim, it did not receive widespread distribution. Stephen Hawking collected 14 articles he wrote from 1976 to 1992 into a popular science book, Black Holes and the Baby Universe, which was published in 1993. In this book, Hawking talks about his life, how he experienced and battled ALS, and some cosmological theories, especially how black holes gave birth to the baby universe. In 1997, the BBC partnered with PBS to produce a 6-episode television show, The Universe of Stephen Hawking, this time, at Hawking's insistence, focused entirely on explaining scientific theories. 2018. In 2001, Hawking completed his companion book, The Universe in the Walnut, which outlines some of Hawking's findings after the completion of the treasured history of time, such as the study of the membrane world. The Universe in the Walnut includes some of Hawking's observations on membrane theory, such as the question of whether there is an extra dimension or not. One can only evaluate extra dimensions by testing whether the mathematical model of the extra dimension properly describes the universe. In 2005, Hawking collaborated with Leonard Mvadana to rewrite and update the new history of time, which is easier to understand and read, and has beautiful pictures, hoping that more readers will be able to access this knowledge through this book. In his 2006 anthology, God Creates Whole Numbers, Hawking included 31 of the most important mathematical treatises in the history of mathematics, and gave a brief account of the life of the author of each paper. Since 2006, Stephen Hawking, Thomas Hurt Auger, and James Haddo have developed a theory of top-down cosmology that states that there are many different initial states of the universe, rather than just one initial state, and therefore should not only express the theory of predicting the future state of the universe from one initial state of the universe. In fact, the initial state of the universe is unknowable, only the present state of the universe is knowable and observable, so all possible initial states can only be estimated from the present state against time. Top-down cosmology assumes that the present state selects all past histories that can lead to the present state. In this way, the theory gives a way to explain the problem of fine-tuning. With the rapid progress of black hole research, more and more scholars believe that Hawking's answer about the loss of information about black holes may be incorrect. In 2004, in a presentation at the 17th International Conference on General Relativity and Gravity, GR17, in Dublin, Ireland, Stephen Hawking gave his own rather controversial answer to the question that black holes may have multiple topologies, geometry, at the same time. After the speech, Hawking invited Thorne and Piesky to the stage, and Hawking formally conceded defeat and presented Piesky with a baseball encyclopedia. Thorne had to study Hawking's paper before deciding whether to deny losing. Piesky was happy to receive the gift, but admitted that he did not know about Hawking's speech. The following year, he published a paper on this topic, applying the method of summing history, thinking about all possible histories of the universe, and that having a history of a black hole would result in a loss of information, while not having a history of a black hole would cause a loss of information, and since the two conditions would cancel each other out, the end result would be that information would not be lost, because there would be no black hole at all that would capture information. In 2007, Hawking, his daughter Lucy, and PhD student Christopher Gaffard co-authored the children's book George's Secret Key to the Universe, which tells the story of how the child George finds and travels the entire solar system through a kind of cosmic floodgate. 2 years later, Hawking and his daughter Lucy wrote the children's book George's Cosmic Treasure Hunt, which tells the story of how George was lost in the universe in search of life. 2 years later, they collaborated again on the children's book George and the Big Bang, which deals with the state of the universe at the time of the Big Bang. BBC's Great Britain programme voted Stephen Hawking 25th out of the 100 Greatest Britons in 2002. In 2006, Stephen Hawking was recognised for his outstanding contributions to theoretical physics and theoretical cosmology. 2 years after receiving the Copley Medal from the Royal Society, Hawking went to the University of Santiago de Compostela in Spain to receive the Fonseca Prize, in recognition of his dedication to spreading the seeds of science to the public. The following year, U.S. President Barack Obama awarded Stephen Hawking the Presidential Medal of Freedom, America's highest civilian honor, for overcoming physical barriers and pushing the boundaries of science. 4 years later, Hawking was awarded the Fundamental Physics Special Breakthrough Prize of $3 million for his discovery of the Hawking radiation of black holes and his profound contributions to quantum gravity and early cosmic quantum science. According to Cambridge rules, the Lucas Professor of Mathematics must retire at the age of 67, and Hawking stepped down in 2009, but he can continue his research in the Department of Applied Mathematics and Theoretical Physics, with his new title being Director of Research at the Cambridge Centre for Theoretical Cosmology. In protest against the cuts in funding for basic research and science education, he threatened to relocate to Canada. It is rumoured that he may retire to work at the Primet Institute for Theoretical Physics in Canada. The University of Cambridge has provided him with a spacious private office, a personal assistant to handle affairs, and a number of PhD students who have realised his bizarre ideas. Hawking's personal assistant said that Hawking loves his job, he is very happy, the school needs him very much, and he has not yet drawn up any retirement plans. Stephen Hawking still has an ambitious research goal, to understand the universe thoroughly, why it is the way it is, and why does it exist. When asked when he would achieve this goal, he repeated his prediction in his inaugural lecture at Lucas Professor of Mathematics, before the end of the century. Stephen Hawking and Russian tech billionaire Yuri Milner launched the Breakthrough Initiative on July 20, 2015, with the goal of exploring extraterrestrial life and trying to answer the question, are we living alone in this vast universe? Stephen Hawking once warned the inhabitants of the Earth in the documentary Hawking's Exploration of the Universe that if aliens come to the Earth, it will be like the original inhabitants of the Americas disappeared after the European Columbus visited the American continent, and the Earthlings who do not have enough resistance will not have a good end. Marriage. Jane Wilder. When Hawking was still a graduate student at Cambridge University, he met Jane Wilder at a New Year's party in 1963, when she was preparing to enter the University of London. Wilder is a friend of Hawking's sister, and she is attracted to Hawking's humour and independent personality, and the two begin to date. Soon after, Hawking developed ALS symptoms and was diagnosed with motor neuron disease in late 1963. In October 1964, Hawking and Wilder got engaged, and Hawking later said that the engagement changed his life and gave him the motivation to survive, and Jane thought that she was looking for the purpose of her existence, which she guessed should be to take care of Hawking, and anyway, they had fallen in love, and there seemed to be no choice about it, she just decided to do so. The two married on July 14, 1965. In the first year of their marriage, Jane lived in London due to the need to complete her degree and could only spend weekends with Hawking. Hawking got a job as a researcher at the university, and after several turns, he rented a room near the Department of Applied Mathematics and Theoretical Physics, DAMP, building, and Hawking only had to walk a short distance to the office each day. He also bought a three-wheeled vehicle that he could drive to the School of Astronomy in the countryside near Cambridge. After graduating in 1966, Jane decided to pursue a PhD at the University of London, specializing in commenting on ancient medieval Spanish books, in order to prove her intellectual talents and set goals for herself. The following year, Hawking's eldest son, Robert, was born in May 1967, his daughter Lucy in 1970, and his youngest son, Timothy, in April 1979. Hawking rarely talks about the challenges he was made by his illness and physical impairment, even during his courtship with Jane. Due to his physical disability and limited mobility, the burden of the family and the responsibility of everything fell on Jane, giving Hawking more time to think about physics. In 1974, Hawking was hired to do research at the California Institute of Technology, and in order to ease the burden, Jane proposed that a college student or postdoctoral graduate live with them and help take care of Hawking's daily life, so that Jane could have more time to rest. Hawking agreed, and graduate student Bonar Carr became the first of many students to join his family on a research trip to Pasadena, California, where everyone spent a happy and motivating year. In 1975, Hawking returned to Cambridge with a new home and a new job, and Don Page came to work at Hawking's home as a home-based graduate assistant, and established a close friendship with Hawking at Caltech. With Page's help and working as a secretary, Jen's responsibilities in caring for Hawking are reduced, so she can return to her dissertation work and a new interest in singing. In December 1977, Jane met organist Jonathan Jones in the choir of St. Mark's Church. Jones gradually became a close friend of the Hawking family. In the mid-1980s, Jane and Jones developed a romantic relationship, and according to Jane, her husband also accepted the reality, saying, "As long as I continue to love him, he will not object." Jane and Jones decided not to break up the fragile family and struggled to maintain a purely friendly relationship with a platonic love for a long time. By the 1980s, the nurses and assistants who cared for Hawking inevitably interfered with their family life, leaving Jane feeling overwhelmed and straining Hawking's marital relationship for years. The impact of his celebrity effect was a challenge for both his colleagues and family, and the fairytale-like image of living in a fairytale world discouraged the couple. Hawking's views on religion stand in stark contrast to her devout Christian beliefs, leading to tensions between the two sides. In the late 1980s, Hawking became close to Elaine Mason, the nurse who cared for and accompanied him, and the two went out often, and they began to like each other, and Mason's strong personality and strong efforts to protect her relationship with Hawking shocked Hawking's family, colleagues, and caregivers. Hawking told Jane that he had left her for Mason and left the family in February 1990, and finally, Hawking and Jane's marriage, which had lasted for almost 25 years, finally hit the rocks, separated and divorced. Elaine Mason. In the spring of 1995, Hawking officially divorced Jane. Married Elaine in September, and he happily announced, "Great, I'm married to the woman I love." Jane is married to Jones, and in her 1999 memoir, Music That Moves the Stars, she describes her marriage to Stephen Hawking and the reasons for its breakdown. The revealed secret caused a stir in the media, and as he usually does with his private life, Hawking did not respond publicly, saying only that he never reads a biography about himself. After Hawking remarried, his family felt ostracized and marginalized from his life, and they rarely had the opportunity to meet him and suspected that Hawking might be abused. For 5 years in the early 2000s, his family and colleagues became increasingly concerned about Hawking's abuse. In early 2004, the media reported that Hawking was abused by his second wife, and the news immediately caused a sensation around the world. In response, Hawking issued a statement from his hospital bed, denying the rumors and saying, "I firmly refute the allegation that I have been abused." The media reports are purely fictitious and I am disappointed that such false information has been disseminated. My wife is in love with me. I'm still alive today because of her. I ask the media to respect my private life and let me focus on recovering from my illness. However, it is rumored that Hawking has multiple mysterious scars, broken wrists, and deep incisions on his face and lips. In March of the same year, the British police formally intervened to investigate, inquire about the relevant situation, and questioned and asked the nurse who had previously taken care of Hawking and asked for information, but because Hawking refused to make a complaint, the police finally had to close the case. In 2006, Hawking and Mason quietly divorced, ending their 11-year relationship. Hawking later said that outside the universe, women are the most difficult mystery to understand. Hawking reconciled with Jane and resumed closer contact with her children and grandchildren. To reflect this happier period, Jane overhauled her previously published memoir, The Music of Moving Stars, removing many of the unbearable narratives and replacing them with a revised version of Traveling to the Ends of the World, My Life with Stephen, which was made into the 2014 film The Theory of Love. Health status. Hawking suffered from a rare form of early onset and slow progressing amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, commonly known as ALS, which paralyzed his body for decades to come. Hawking's illness began in his 5th year at Oxford, when he noticed that his movements were becoming increasingly clumsy, including wrestling for no apparent reason and difficulty rowing. On one occasion, he fell down the stairs and hit his head first, causing a brief slight loss of memory. At Cambridge University, his condition worsened, and his speech became slightly difficult and slurred. Hawking's parents also noticed his health problems when he came home at Christmas and took him to a specialist. In 1963, when Hawking was 21 years old, doctors diagnosed him with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, which doctors expected to have only 2 years to live, but as the 2 years passed, he was still alive, and his condition was strangely slowing down. In the late 1960s, Hawking's health deteriorated again, and he had to rely on a cane for mobility and walking, and was no longer able to teach regularly. As Hawking gradually lost his ability to write, he developed an alternative visual method of his own, in which he formed a variety of intuitive aiding patterns and equations in his mind, which he could use to study physical problems. Physicist Werner Israel later said that Hawking's achievement was like Mozart's creation of a complete symphony with great characteristics in his mind based on his imagination alone. Hawking is very independent, unwilling to accept any help, and will not give in to his ills. He likes to be seen as a scientist more than anything else, followed by a popular science writer, and most importantly as a normal person who always has the same desires, drives, dreams and ambitions as everyone else. His wife, Jane Wilder, later said, "Some people call it determination, some call it stubbornness, and I used to call it both decisive and stubborn many times." In the late 60s, Hawking was persuaded to use a wheelchair, but he eventually became notorious for his unruly use of a wheelchair, and his friends knew him as a dangerous driver, often rushing through the streets with impunity, as if he had priority. Hawking is funny and popular among his peers, but because of his illness and his unkind attitude at school, some colleagues choose to keep their distance from him. By the late 1970s, Hawking's speech had deteriorated so much that only his family or close friends could understand him. To communicate with others, he needs someone who knows him well to translate his speech into intelligible words. At the entrance of Hawking's office building, because there was no wheelchair ramp for wheelchair access, but the University of Cambridge was unwilling to pay for the disability ramp, so Hawking and his wife launched a campaign to urge the University of Cambridge to improve and provide accessible resources for people with disabilities, including wheelchair access and student dormitory facilities. In general, Hawking has ambivalent and ambiguous feelings about his role as a voice for disability rights, with a desire to help people with disabilities and an attempt to disconnect himself from his illness and the challenges that come with it. However, his lack of engagement in this regard has provoked some criticism. Hawking contracted severe pneumonia during a visit to the European Organization for Nuclear Research in 1985 and had to use a life support system. Due to her critical condition, the doctor asked Jane if she should stop the operation of the life support system. Jane's answer was no, and the alternative was that Hawking would have to undergo a tracheostomy. This surgery will help him breathe, but it will make him unable to speak again. After the operation, Hawking was discharged after a period of recuperation in the intensive care unit, but he still had to be cared for 24 hours a day. Although NHS could pay for the nursing home, Jane decided to take Hawking home. Upon learning of Hawking's condition, Thorne advises them to seek the help of their friend, Murray Gell-Mann. At that time, the Nobel laureate Gell-Mann was a director of the MacArthur Foundation, which generously promised to cover all medical expenses. Jane hired 3 shifts of nurses to take turns watching over Hawking, one of whom was Elaine Mason, who later became Hawking's second wife. Hawking can no longer speak, and must use a special method to convey the message. The other person holds a letter card in one hand, and points letter by letter with the other hand with the index finger. When pointing to the letter that Hawking wants, Hawking will raise his eyebrows, so that he can slowly spell out the whole word. Later, computer expert Walter Waters gave him a program called the Egalitarian that allowed him to select words or letters on the screen. The equalizer has a vocabulary of about 2,503,000 words and a built-in speech synthesizer. The Egalitarian was originally executed on a desktop computer, and nurse Elaine's husband, David Mason, a computer engineer, set up a small computer in Hawking's wheelchair and installed the Egalizer in the small computer. As a result, Hawking no longer needs to find someone to translate for him, and Hawking is happy to say, "I can convey information more than I would if I had lost the ability to speak." Hawking can still manipulate his hand slightly to turn on the switch, giving about 15 words per minute. Before each presentation, he prepares his handouts and then uses a speech synthesizer to deliver them. Some people feel that the voice given by the speech synthesizer has an American or Scandinavian accent. Hawking originally wanted to change to a British accent, but then he got used to it and felt that it was his voice. Hawking's health slowly deteriorated, and in 2005, he began using the movement of his cheek muscles to control his communication device, which outputs about 1 word per minute. Since the disease is likely to cause locked-in syndrome, Hawking was working with neurologists to develop a new system that would allow a computer to translate his brainwave patterns into words. In 2009, he was no longer able to drive his wheelchair independently, and his breathing became more and more difficult, requiring the use of artificial respirators and several times being so severe that he needed to go to the hospital. Personal insights. Stephen Hawking has expressed his views on life, humanity, nuclear weapons, religion, and more on many public occasions in the past. In 2006, Hawking visited Hong Kong and answered a question about how scientific research can lead to economic development in a press conference before his speech The Origin of the Universe at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology on June 21 of the same year. At another press conference also held in Hong Kong, Hawking, in response to a question from a paralyzed patient named Bin Sai, Tang Subun, about the legalization of euthanasia, said, "He has the freedom to choose to end his life, but that would be a major mistake. No matter how bad the fate is, there is always something to do, and where there is life, there is hope." In 2014, in an interview with the BBC, he expressed his support for euthanasia. Speaking at the 50th anniversary of NASA, Hawking said, "The situation is a bit like that of Europe before 1492, and one might think that letting Columbus sail was a waste of money. But the discovery of the New World radically changed the Old World. The expansion of humanity into outer space will have an even greater impact, which will completely change the future of humanity and even determine whether it has a future for humanity." Stephen Hawking spoke of the universe as a new world to usher in an era of cosmic discovery like Columbus's discovery of the American continent. As for extraterrestrial creatures, Hawking said in the 2010 documentary Exploring the Universe with Hawking on the Discovery Channel that there are 100 billion galaxies in the universe, and it is reasonable to infer the existence of extraterrestrial creatures from the numbers. Stephen Hawking solemnly warned that aliens are very likely to have bad intentions, and that humans should no longer send messages into the universe with the intention of making contact with aliens. From the history of mankind, it can be seen that highly intelligent beings are likely to bring suffering and disasters. Alien creatures may have exhausted their planet's resources, and in order to obtain new resources, they travel around like nomads in large space vehicles, crusading and encroaching on other planets, and alien creatures may make the Earth a colony. On nuclear weapons, Hawking said, "We're smart enough to design nuclear weapons, but I'm not sure we're smart enough not to use them." When it comes to religion, Hawking declares himself an atheist. He said, "Before we understand science, it is natural to believe that God created the universe. But now science has provided a more convincing explanation. When I say we will know God's mind, I mean that if God exists, we would know anything that God knows, but He does not exist. I'm an atheist." Article 2. Hawking's Prophecy, Last Words. Source: ChatGPT. In his later years and in his posthumous book, Brief Answers to the Big Questions, Stephen Hawking offered a number of prophecies and warnings about the future. Stephen Hawking's last words and prophecies relate to the future development of mankind, the potential risks of science and technology, and the challenges facing the Earth, mainly focusing on the following aspects. 1. The risks of artificial intelligence. Stephen Hawking has warned that the emergence of strong artificial intelligence, AI, could pose an existential threat to humanity. He worries that the intelligent machines of the future may surpass human intelligence and eventually lose human control. He believes that humanity must be cautious about the development of AI and find ways to develop relevant security mechanisms to ensure that the development of AI can serve human society and not pose a threat. 2. Climate change and environmental crisis. Stephen Hawking has repeatedly stressed the severity of climate change and environmental pollution. He believes that the growing threats to the Earth's ecosystems, such as global warming, melting glaciers and rising sea levels, have forced humanity to step up measures. He has predicted that if humanity does not address the climate crisis, the planet may become unlivable for hundreds of years. 3. The depletion of Earth's resources and interstellar migration. Stephen Hawking proposed that humanity should consider the possibility of migrating to other planets in the next few hundred years. He pointed out that due to the limited resources of the Earth, the growing population, and the destruction of the environment, the Earth may not be able to meet the long-term survival needs of human beings. Hawking believes that in order to ensure the continuation of human civilization, space should be explored, a habitable planet should be found, and a second home for mankind should be opened. 4. The threat of nuclear war and biological warfare. Hawking feared the potential threat of nuclear war or biological warfare. He believes that while mankind has mastered advanced technology, it must be aware of its potentially catastrophic consequences. He warned that the proliferation of nuclear weapons and the use of biological weapons such as viruses could become a devastating risk to human civilization. 5. Genetic modification and human evolution. Hawking believes that in the future, human beings may modify themselves through genetic engineering technology to adapt to different environmental and social needs. He predicts that in the future, wealthy groups may use gene editing technology to enhance their physical fitness and intelligence, and even a new type of superhuman may appear. This imbalance can lead to ethical problems and social contradictions. 6. The possibility and contact of extraterrestrial life. Hawking is a firm believer in extraterrestrial life, but believes there is a risk in actively contacting it. He is concerned that higher civilizations may pose a threat to humanity and suggests that we should be cautious and avoid direct contact with potential higher extraterrestrial civilizations. Source: English Isles. Stephen Hawking, a well-known physicist who influenced the cosmology of a generation, recently renewed his call for human exploration of space and the search for other habitable planets. In addition, Hawking has also made predictions about artificial intelligence and human brain consciousness. Let's take a look at Hawking's 4 major predictions. Earth is becoming a fireball. Stephen Hawking has a. Issued another warning for Earth: overpopulation will increase energy, b. consumption, and we have less than 600 years before the Earth turns into a sizzling fireball. Speaking at the Tencent We Summit in Beijing, Hawking 1. appealed to investors to back his plans to travel to Alpha Centauri. At around 4 light-years away, it's the closest star system to our Sun. The venture is called Breakthrough Starshot, and it would use a tiny spacecraft that travels at the speed of light. Such a system could reach Mars in less than an hour, or reach Pluto in days, pass Voyager in under a week, and reach Alpha Centauri in just over 20 years. AOL.com. Stephen Hawking once again warned the planet that overpopulation would exacerbate resource depletion, and that within 600 years the planet would become a scorching fireball. AOL reported, at Tencent's We conference in Beijing, Stephen Hawking called on investors to fund his space program to Alpha Centauri. Located about 4 light-years from the Sun, Centauri is the closest galaxy to the Sunday. The expedition, called Breakthrough Star Strike, will use small nanospacecraft to fly at the speed of light. The spacecraft can reach Mars in less than an hour, Pluto in a few days, Voyager in less than a week, and Alpha Centauri in more than 20 years. AI will be either the best or the worst thing to humans. I believe there is no deep difference between what can be achieved by a biological brain and what can be achieved by a computer. It therefore follows that computers can, in theory, emulate human intelligence and exceed it, Hawking said. That, he said, could lead to the eradication of disease and poverty and the conquest of climate change. But it could also bring us all sorts of things we didn't like: autonomous weapons, economic disruption, and machines that developed a will of their own, too, in conflict with humanity. BBC. I don't think the brains of living beings are fundamentally different from computers. Theoretically, computers can catch up with human intelligence and surpass it. The BBC reported that Hawking believes that disease, poverty, and climate change will be eradicated. But there will also be all sorts of things that we don't like and that are inhumane, such as automated weapons, economic disintegration, machines developing self-awareness, and so on. We should hope aliens don't find us first. We only have to look at ourselves to see how intelligent life might develop into something we wouldn't want to meet, said Hawking, who has been public about his concerns about alien civilization. I imagine they might exist in massive ships, having used up all the resources from their home planet. Such advanced aliens would perhaps become nomads, looking to conquer and colonize whatever planets they can reach. Just by looking at ourselves, we can understand the development of intelligent life forms that we may not want to encounter. Stephen Hawking has always openly expressed concern about extraterrestrial civilizations. I imagine that they have exhausted their planet's resources aboard a huge spaceship. Such advanced extraterrestrial life could be wandering around, intending to conquer and colonize the planets they can reach. Brain could exist outside body. According to The Guardian, at the premiere of a documentary film about his life, the theoretical physicist said, "I think the brain is like a program in the mind, which is like a computer, so it's theoretically possible to copy the brain onto a computer and so provide a form of life after death. However, this is way beyond our present capabilities. I think the conventional afterlife is a fairy tale for people afraid of the dark." The Guardian reported that Stephen Hawking said at the premiere of his life documentary, "I think the brain is like a computer program. Theoretically, the brain can be copied to a computer and continue to exist after death. However, we are still far from being able to do so at the moment. I also think that the traditional concept of the afterlife is just a fairy tale, to comfort people who are afraid of the dark." Article 3. Stephen Hawking's prophecy: humanity will be extinct within 100 years. Source: ChatGPT. Stephen Hawking has warned that humanity could be at risk of extinction within the next 100 years if it does not take action to deal with a range of potential threats. This point of view has sparked widespread attention and discussion. Hawking's pessimistic prediction is based on the following. 1. Climate change and ecological crisis. Hawking believes that climate change is a serious threat to the future survival of humanity. If greenhouse gases continue to increase, global temperatures will inevitably rise, with catastrophic consequences such as extreme weather, reduced crop yields, and rising sea levels. These problems can lead to food shortages, competition for resources and mass migration, leading to social unrest and conflict, and possibly even endangering human survival. 2. The risk of AI getting out of control. Hawking believes that the loss of control of strong artificial intelligence could pose a devastating threat to humanity. He warned that once artificial intelligence develops to a level of intelligence beyond human intelligence, if left unchecked, it could pose a huge risk to the stability of human society. He believes that human dependence and use of AI may eventually turn it into an uncontrolled force, and may even lead to an end-of-the-box situation. 3. The threat of nuclear and biological warfare. Hawking warned of humanity's growing ability to self-destruct, especially the threat of nuclear and biological weapons. He believed that a full-scale nuclear or biological war could cause irreversible catastrophe and bring about global destruction. With the advancement of science and technology, the risk of the proliferation of these weapons of mass destruction has increased, threatening the continuation of human civilization. 4. Depletion of the Earth's resources. As the population grows and resource consumption intensifies, Hawking believes that the Earth's resources may struggle to support sustainable human development in the future. The Earth's natural resources, including fresh water, energy, forests, etc., are being consumed at an unsustainable rate, leading to the deterioration of ecosystems. Hawking mentioned that resource depletion could be an existential threat if humanity does not shift to sustainable resource use. 5. The possible risks posed by extraterrestrial life. Hawking believed in the existence of extraterrestrial life, but he believed that active contact with it could be dangerous. He fears that more advanced alien civilizations may be hostile to or plunder human resources, leading to the destruction of human civilization. Therefore, he suggested that humans should keep a low profile in case they were discovered by a higher alien civilization. 6. The need for interstellar immigrants. Based on these threats, Hawking has repeatedly stressed that exploring and immigrating to other planets is the only long-term solution for humanity to escape extinction. He believes that the next 100 years will be a dangerous period for human civilization, encouraging mankind to accelerate space exploration and find habitats beyond the Earth, just in case. Hawking is not entirely pessimistic, and his warnings are meant to awaken humanity's sense of crisis to the future. He hopes that humanity will take steps to mitigate these threats, including developing sustainable technologies, controlling artificial intelligence, and exploring space. His prophecy is not a doomed end, but a reminder that humanity should act. Source: Chi County Science Education Center, May 9, 2017. Epoch Times. Earth is very dangerous, you should hurry back to Mars. This was originally a funny line in the movie, but now scientists have made a similar point. In November last year, the well-known physicist Stephen Hawking gave humanity a deadline, 1,000 years to find a new planet and settle there. And now, Hawking has shortened that deadline to 100 years. The 74-year-old Cambridge professor said in a BBC documentary Expedition to the New Earth that in order to survive, people will need to pack up and move off the planet in 100 years. This BBC program says that our planet is becoming increasingly unsafe with risks such as pollution, climate change, the threat of asteroid impacts, infectious diseases, and population growth. On the show, From How to Get Off Earth to How to Survive on Other Planets, Hawking talks about biology, astronomy, rocket technology to human hibernation and more. Stephen Hawking has called for human colonization of the Moon and finding a way to live on Mars, which he believes is the next target planet for human settlement. He believes that if we continue to survive on Earth, humanity will face the danger of a mass extinction. In a speech at Oxford University last November, Hawking said, "For the future of humanity, we must go into space. Without escaping our fragile planet, I think we won't be able to survive for another 1,000 years. In his speech, Hawking told the audience that humanity will continue to devour the Earth's resources at an unsustainable rate, and that the final catastrophe of the planet may be accelerated. Hawking also warned about the potential threat posed by artificial intelligence. Article 4. Stephen Hawking's Prophecy, The Birth of Superman. Source: ChatGPT. In his later years, Hawking expressed concern about the concept of superhuman, arguing that with the development of gene editing technology, humans may create a superhuman in the near future. This superhuman is not a superhero in the sense of science fiction, but a new type of human who has obtained higher intelligence, stronger physical strength or longer life through genetic modification. Hawking warned against this possibility, arguing that it would pose huge ethical and societal challenges. The birth of the transhuman, the potential and risks of gene editing. With advances in gene editing technology, such as CRISPR, scientists can make precise modifications to human DNA, potentially improving or eliminating certain genetic diseases in the future. Hawking worries that gene editing will not only be used to treat diseases, but could also be used by the wealthy to improve their physical fitness and intelligence, making their offspring more competitive than the average person. Hawking predicts that in the future, genetic modification may lead to the creation of superhumans, that is, genetically modified people will have advantages that ordinary people cannot achieve, such as stronger disease resistance, higher IQ, stronger physical strength, etc. This superhuman will allow natural selection to be replaced by artificial selection to some extent, causing human evolution to occur in an accelerated way. An exacerbation of social inequality. Hawking argues that the misuse of gene editing technology could exacerbate social inequality. Wealthy people may use genetic modification to gain more advantages for their offspring, while ordinary people cannot afford the high cost of gene editing. This will lead to a clear distinction between superior people and ordinary people in human society, which will further exacerbate inequality and may even lead to social conflict and unrest. Hawking believes that once the superhuman appears, an elite class may be formed, excluding ordinary people. In the long run, this genetic inequality will deepen the divide between people, potentially leading to new racial divisions or social hierarchies. Hawking worries that ordinary people may be eliminated due to lack of competitiveness, and even have the possibility of being forced to choose genetic modification to survive. The fate of ordinary humans. Stephen Hawking put forward a disturbing hypothesis: if the gap between transhumans and ordinary humans in terms of body and intelligence grows, it may lead to the gradual marginalization or even elimination of ordinary humans. He believes that if left unchecked, transhumans could become dominant, and ordinary humans could die out one day in the future. Hawking's warning and appeal. Although Hawking believes that the application of gene editing is inevitable, he calls for humanity to be cautious about the development of this technology. He believes that the social and scientific communities should discuss and develop relevant ethical norms as soon as possible to control the misuse of gene editing and ensure that this technology brings benefits to all mankind and not just for a few. He hopes that human beings can use wisdom and morality to guide the development of gene editing and avoid the emergence of superhumans from having a destructive impact on society. Source: Atlas Earth. There is no time for us to follow Darwinian theory of evolution to become smarter and stronger. The late theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking predicted that in the future, wealthy families would use gene editing engineering technology to improve the DNA of their offspring, and from this could lead to the emergence of a new species of superhumans, who could quickly renew and evolve themselves, no longer pure-blooded humans, but genetically modified humans. As the greatest physicist of our generation since Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawking warned about two of the things he most often warned about during his lifetime: extraterrestrial creatures and artificial intelligence. Standing on the tip of the universe, Hawking is well aware of the insignificance of human beings, and he has solemnly reminded that human beings should no longer send messages to try to contact aliens, because the higher intelligent beings may have exhausted their own planet's resources and are riding large spaceships to crusade against other planets. After all, if a planet is safe and sound, who will come out and wander in outer space with great fanfare? Isn't it because of ambition or fear that the Earth will soon be uninhabitable by humans, so they must invade other planets? And with the progress of civilization, Hawking has repeatedly warned that AI robots may end human civilization. In addition to Stephen Hawking, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk also said that AI is the biggest threat to human civilization, and these androids will continue to redesign themselves at a rapid pace, and if they are not regulated, these robots, which are only in the hands of a few institutions and privileged people, will one day be completely out of control. Now, another fact that Hawking worried about during his lifetime has also come to the fore: CRISPR/Cas9 gene editing technology. According to the Sunday Times, Hawking is convinced that by the end of this century, mankind will see a breakthrough in genetic engineering to create a superhuman race, and although the law will try to prevent the situation from becoming serious, some greedy people with money and power will never be able to resist the temptation to sell their souls when they discover that their memory, resistance, and longevity can surpass ordinary people through gene editing. Once a modified race that is smarter and more powerful than humans rises, humanity will inevitably be unable to compete with it, and there will only be two ends: extinction, or becoming like ants. Does not matter. There are pros and cons to CRISPR/Cas9 gene editing technology, or in other words, there is no good or bad technology. It is the human heart that determines the use of technology, and the human heart has both light and darkness, and there will always be some people who cannot defeat the dark side, and they will miss by a millimeter. Article 5. Hawking's Prophecy, Aliens. Source: ChatGPT. Stephen Hawking is convinced of the existence of extraterrestrial life and has repeatedly warned cautiously about how humans interact with extraterrestrial life. He believes that the possibility of intelligent life in the universe is very high, but he also warns that humans should be careful about contact with advanced extraterrestrial civilizations to avoid unpredictable risks. Here are Hawking's main points and prophecies about extraterrestrial life. 1. There may be intelligent life in the universe. Hawking believes that in such a vast universe, the emergence of life is unlikely to be a phenomenon unique to Earth. He pointed out that there are hundreds of billions of galaxies in the universe, and that there are billions of stars and planets in each galaxy, a scale that makes the chances of other life in the universe very high. Therefore, Hawking expressed optimism about the existence of extraterrestrial intelligent life, believing that we may not be the only intelligent beings in the universe. 2. The diversity of extraterrestrial civilizations. Hawking speculated that extraterrestrial life forms could be very diverse, and some might even have abilities and technological levels beyond human comprehension. Extraterrestrial civilizations may be far superior to humans in terms of technology, intelligence, or evolution. In particular, Hawking pointed out that some extraterrestrial civilizations may be more advanced than human civilizations, and can even easily destroy humans or the Earth's ecology. 3. Be wary of contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. Although Hawking acknowledges the possibility of extraterrestrial life, he does not believe that humans should actively try to contact it. Instead, he issued a warning that contact with a higher extraterrestrial civilization could be very dangerous. He likened the potential threat of aliens to the relationship between European colonists and Native Americans. One side was devastating because of the disparity in technology and resources. He feared that if alien civilizations were not friendly to humans, they might destroy humanity by plundering resources or for other purposes, as colonists did with their natives. 4. Warning of the dark forest hypothesis. Hawking's attitude is similar to the dark forest hypothesis proposed by science fiction writer Lou Sixon. According to this hypothesis, the universe is like a dark forest, and all civilizations carefully hide themselves to avoid exposure to possible hostile civilizations. Hawking agrees with this view, arguing that humans should try to remain silent and avoid signaling in the universe so as not to be discovered and seen as a threat by higher civilizations. 5. Scientific exploration in search of extraterrestrial life. Although Hawking is wary of contact with extraterrestrial civilizations, he supports the scientific community's exploration of extraterrestrial life. He believes that scientists can study galaxies and planets in the universe and look for signs of life through astronomical observations and space exploration. He also supports the projects SETI, Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, and Breakthrough Listen, but he argues that these explorations should be passive, listening to the signals of the universe rather than sending them outward. 6 Thoughts and choices for the future of mankind. Hawking believes that the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations may have an important impact on the future direction of human development. If the existence of extraterrestrial life is confirmed, humanity may need to re-examine its place in the universe and consider how to survive in it. He proposed that humanity should prepare for this possibility, enhance its own survivability through space exploration and technological development, and avoid becoming a weak person in the universe. 7. Encourage a cautious and open scientific attitude. Stephen Hawking's prophecy of extraterrestrial life is both curious and alarming. On the one hand, he supports scientific exploration of the possibility of extraterrestrial life, and on the other hand, he believes that such exploration should be carried out with caution. He hopes that human beings can keep an open mind when exploring the unknown, and not easily expose themselves, so as not to attract unnecessary dangers. Source: E Today. British physicist Stephen Hawking has passed away at the age of 76. Although he suffers from ALS, he has made many important contributions to science, including the Penrose-Hawking nature theorem, Hawking radiation, and he also firmly believes that aliens really exist, and has repeatedly warned mankind. Stephen Hawking has a lot of research on black holes and the origin of the universe, and he has repeatedly expressed the theory that there are aliens in the universe, and believes that it is dangerous for modern Earthlings to constantly look for extraterrestrial creatures in order to develop, and sooner or later the existence of the Earth will be discovered. There are 2 civilizations on alien planets, one is lower than the Earth civilization and the other is higher than the Earth civilization. Hawking said that if the Earthlings encounter the latter, the aliens may launch a colonization operation and bring killing, just like Columbus discovered South America, because the aliens may not have good intentions and only want to plunder resources, so human beings should not imagine too good. But he also called for human beings to develop new colonies in outer space. According to the rate of population growth, by 2600 the Earth will become quite crowded. Under a large amount of energy consumption, the Earth may become a blazing fireball. If human beings do not want to escape, will not be able to survive in the next 1000 years, leading to the extinction of human beings. Before his death, he also called on investors to support the Breakthrough Starshot project, sending a research ship to the nearest star system to the Sun at 1/5 of the speed of light, and it is expected to take 20 years to reach the Centauri Alpha, South Gate 2, for exploration, and spend 4 years to send back the exploration news. He believes that there may be planets suitable for human life around Alpha Centauri. Article 6. ALS. Source: ChatGPT. ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, commonly known as ALS, is a neurodegenerative disease. The disease affects motor neurons in the brain and spinal cord, causing these nerve cells to degenerate, lose function, and fail to transmit signals to muscles. As the disease progresses, the patient's muscles gradually atrophy, resulting in a gradual loss of functions such as movement, speech, swallowing, and breathing, and finally a state of gradual freezing. Main features and causes of ALS. Symptoms. Early symptoms usually include muscle weakness, muscle twitches, limb weakness, clumsiness in movement, etc. As the disease progresses, the muscles throughout the body gradually atrophy, and eventually the patient may lose the ability to take care of himself, and even need a ventilator to help him breathe. Despite physical inactivity, most patients are usually unaffected in cognitive and sensory function. Etiology. The exact cause of ALS is unclear and may be a combination of genetic, environmental, and other unknown factors. About 5 to 10% of patients with ALS have a family history, but the majority of patients are sporadic, i.e., have no obvious genetic background. Environmental factors such as exposure to heavy metals, toxic substances, and extremely strenuous physical training have also been suggested to be associated with the onset of ALS. Neuronal damage. ALS primarily affects upper and lower motor neurons in the brain and spinal cord, which control muscle movement. As these neurons die, the muscles are not innervated by nerve signals, and they become atrophied and weak, eventually leading to incapacitation. Current status of treatment. There is still no cure for ALS, but there are a number of treatments that can slow the progression of the disease and improve quality of life. Pharmacotherapy. 2 drugs riluzole and edaravone are approved for the treatment of ALS. Riluzole is thought to slow the progression of ALS, while edaravone may slow nerve cell damage. Physical therapy and rehabilitation. Rehabilitation methods such as physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech therapy can help delay muscle atrophy, maintain stable function, and help patients better cope with daily life. Nutrition and respiratory support. As the disease progresses, patients often experience dysphagia, resulting in malnutrition or aspiration, and therefore require special nutritional support. Respiratory assistive devices may also be needed when the respiratory muscles are weak. Famous case. Physicist Stephen Hawking is one of the most prominent patients of ALS. He was diagnosed with ALS at the age of 21, and doctors initially thought he would only live for 2 years, but he miraculously lived to be 76 years old, during which time he relied on technology to maintain communication and continue scientific research, becoming a symbol of ALS patients around the world. Research prospects. Although the current cure rate for ALS is not high, scientists are actively studying its pathogenesis and potential treatments, including gene therapy, stem cell therapy, immunotherapy, etc. The ALS Foundation and a number of global advocacy campaigns are also accelerating research in this area. Events such as ALS challenges, such as the Ice Bucket Challenge, have led to a gradual increase in public awareness of ALS, raising significant funding for future treatments and research. Source: Wikipedia. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also known as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, is a motor neuron disease characterized by simultaneous involvement of pyramidal cells in the cerebral cortex, motor nerve nuclei in the brainstem, and anterior horn cells in the spinal cord. It is a progressive and fatal neurodegenerative disease. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis has other old or common names, such as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. ALS is one of the 5 most common motor neuron disorders, MNDs. In the Commonwealth of Great Britain countries, motor neuron disease is often referred to as amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is caused by the degeneration of motor neurons in the central nervous system that control skeletal muscle. As upper and lower motor neurons degenerate and die, muscles gradually weaken and atrophy. Finally, the brain completely loses the ability to control voluntary movements. Eventually, it can cause problems with pronunciation, swallowing, and breathing. The disease does not necessarily affect the patient's higher-order neural activity as Alzheimer's disease does. On the contrary, patients with advanced disease can always maintain clear thinking, pre-onset memory, personality, and intelligence. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis has an unknown cause in 90% to 95% of cases. About 5% to 10% are inherited from parents. About half of all cases are caused by 2 specific genes. 30% of hereditary and 10% of episodic ALS patients had G4C2 gene duplication located in the C9orf72 region of chromosome 9, which was the most common mutation factor, followed by SOD1 gene, and the rest of the mutations included 50 gene mutations such as TDP43, FUS, alsin, centosin, VABP, and sigma-1 receptor. It leads to the death of neurons that control voluntary muscles. Diagnosis is based on individual tests of symptoms and signs to rule out other causes. There is no cure for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. A drug called riluzole can prolong life for about 2 to 3 months. Non-invasive ventilation therapy can improve the quality of life and prolong the life of patients. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis usually develops around age 60, but some lineal cases usually develop around age 50. The average survival time from onset to death is 3 to 4 years. Only 10% of patients survive for more than 10 years, and a very small number survive for 50 years or more, such as physicist Stephen Hawking. Most patients die of respiratory failure. The prevalence of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is unknown in many parts of the world. In Europe and the United States, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is diagnosed with approximately 2.2 per 100,000 people each year. Descriptions of the disease date back at least to the 1824 account of Charles Bell. In 1869, Jean-Martin Charcot first proposed a link between the symptoms of the disease and an underlying neurological problem. He began using the term amyotrophic lateral sclerosis in 1874. It wasn't until baseball player Lou Gehrig and physicist Stephen Hawking became known about the disease. The 2014 Ice Bucket Challenge video was circulated on the internet to raise public awareness of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. Article 7. Stephen Hawking's prediction of the solution, to explore and develop space. Source: ChatGPT. Stephen Hawking, when predicting that humanity may face multiple threats, proposed a positive solution, to find a new way out for human civilization by exploring and developing space. Hawking argues that in order to avoid extinction due to resource scarcity, climate change, or other catastrophes, humanity should look at the wider universe and expand its gaze from Earth to space. This idea includes interstellar migration, resource utilization, planetary protection, and other aspects. 1. Find a second home for humanity. Hawking believes that the Earth's resources are limited, and the development of population and technology is causing great pressure on the Earth's ecology and climate. He proposed that if humans could find habitable alien planets, they could achieve interstellar migration for hundreds of years to come. Although interstellar travel is not currently possible, Hawking encourages the exploration of planets in the solar system, especially potential stars such as Mars and Europa, as a second home for humanity. 2. Exploitation of space resources. Hawking believes that space is full of abundant resources, such as metals and minerals contained in the asteroid belt, which can make up for the lack of resources on Earth. By exploiting space resources, humans can reduce the pressure on the Earth and extend the service life of the Earth's resources. His vision includes building a space mining base to transport collected resources back to Earth, or setting up a processing facility in space to directly serve other bases in space. 3. Innovation in space technology. In order to achieve space exploration and development, Hawking believes that the development of space technology must be continuously promoted. He supports and participates in the Breakthrough Starshot program, which uses small, laser-powered light sails to travel to Proxima Centauri systems at nearly the speed of light, a technology that, if realized, would greatly speed up interstellar exploration. He also encouraged the development of more advanced rocket technology, space station construction technology, and artificial intelligence systems to reduce the cost and risk of space exploration and development. 4. The need for a multi-planetary civilization. Hawking believes that the risk of extinction can only be minimized by distributing human civilization across multiple planets. If human beings only live on the Earth, they will not be spared in the event of irreparable disasters on the Earth, such as asteroid impacts, nuclear wars, and supervolcanic eruptions. Dispersing human civilization on different planets can form a backup that provides a higher chance of survival for the continuation of humanity. 5. Balance between environmental protection and space exploration. While Hawking supports the development of space, he also stressed the importance of environmental protection. He believes that the Earth is the only planet known to be suitable for human habitation, so it is still the responsibility of human beings to protect the Earth's ecology. However, the exploration of space not only provides more opportunities for the ecological protection of the Earth, but also gives humans the opportunity to leave the Earth in the future and avoid completely depleting the Earth's resources. 6. Foster global collaboration. Space exploration is a huge undertaking that requires the cooperation of the global scientific community and governments. Hawking believes that space exploration is not just a goal for one country, but a common future for all mankind. He advocated that countries should strengthen cooperation, share resources and technology, and jointly promote space development, so that all mankind can benefit from space exploration. 7. Science education and public awareness. Hawking encourages the global spread of space science education to raise public awareness of space exploration and the future of humanity. He hopes that through education and science popularization, the younger generation's interest in space will be stimulated, so that more people will pay attention to the long-term issues of mankind's future and cultivate a talent pool for space development. Article 8. The solution predicted by Hawking, to build a space city. Source: ChatGPT. Hawking believes that the construction of space cities can provide human beings with a living space away from the Earth, help deal with the catastrophic crises that the Earth may face, such as climate change, resource depletion, war, etc., and pave the way for the long-term survival of human beings in the universe. Stephen Hawking's vision of a space city is not just an alien base, but a fully functional space habitat capable of sustaining life and civilization. The following are Hawking's main solutions to the concept and construction of the space city. 1. Self-sufficient ecosystem. Space city must have a self-sufficient ecosystem to support long-term living. Hawking believes that space city needs to address the recycling of air, food, and water, forming a closed-loop ecosystem that allows residents to survive without relying on the planet for supplies. For example, hydroponics or aeroponics can be used to grow food in the city, use advanced air filtration systems, and recycle wastewater to ensure that resources can be recycled in the city. 2. Sustainable energy system. The energy supply of the space city must be stable, clean, and sustainable. Hawking envisioned solar or nuclear energy as the main source of energy. Because there is no atmosphere in space, the energy conversion efficiency of solar energy will be greatly improved. Nuclear energy, on the other hand, provides high-density, long-term energy support. Ensuring a stable energy supply will be an important foundation for the self-sustaining of the space city. 3. Anti-radiation and protection technology. High-energy radiation in space is extremely harmful to the human body, and space cities must have advanced radiation protection technology. Hawking believes that the outer shell material of the space city needs to be radiation resistant to ensure that residents are not affected by cosmic radiation and the impact of tiny meteoroids. In terms of materials, high-density shielding materials, magnetic field protection systems, and even built under the Moon or other stars, with the natural environment as a barrier. 4. Gravity simulation and health protection. Living in microgravity can lead to health problems such as osteoporosis and muscle atrophy, and Space City needs to have an artificial gravity system. Hawking envisioned using a rotating space station to create centrifugal force that mimics Earth's gravity and helps residents maintain normal physiology. In addition, the city should be equipped with medical facilities to ensure that residents have access to the necessary healthcare services and to prevent possible physiological effects of the space environment. 5. Social and cultural construction. Hawking emphasized that the space city should not only solve technical problems, but also focus on socio-cultural sustainability. As a closed living space, the space city should establish a rational social system, education system, and cultural activities to ensure that the residents can maintain mental and social health. Education, entertainment, and the arts will be an integral part of the city, helping to improve the quality of life and maintain social stability and cohesion. 6. Initial exploration, Moon and Mars bases. Hawking believes that the construction of Space City can start with relatively close stars such as the Moon and Mars. The lunar base can be used as a testing ground for the construction of a space city, because it is close to the Earth, which is convenient for the transportation of technology and materials. Mars, on the other hand, is considered to have the potential to become humanity's first alien home due to its relatively suitable temperature, day-night alternation, and atmospheric conditions. Hawking hopes to gradually move forward with the more complex Space City project by establishing initial bases on the Moon and Mars. 7. Technological innovation and global cooperation. The construction of the Space City requires scientific, technological, economic, and other cooperation on a global scale, and Hawking supports international cooperation to accelerate the breakthrough of key technological bottlenecks. For example, advances in 3D printing technology for construction, AI for intelligent management, and robots for maintenance and mining will greatly reduce the cost of building a space city. In addition, global collaboration can effectively integrate the funds, technologies, and resources of various countries, making the establishment of a space city more practical. 8. The long-term vision of interstellar colonization. Hawking not only hopes to build a space city near Earth, but also envisions the future of building interstellar colonies in other galaxies. He envisions using the laser-driven light sail technology mentioned in the Breakthrough Project to send small probes to star systems such as Proxima Centauri in search of potentially habitable planets. This idea of interstellar colonization, while still far away, he believes it is a crucial step for humanity to finally break free from the shackles of Earth. 9. Ethics and responsibility for the development of science and technology. Hawking proposed that the construction of space cities requires ethical vigilance to ensure that the use of space resources will not have a negative impact on humans or the cosmic environment in the future. He believes that it is the responsibility of human beings to protect the Earth and respect the natural state of other stars, so it is necessary to ensure ecological balance and environmental sustainability in the process of building space cities. Article 9. Cosmology. Source: ChatGPT. Cosmology is the study of the origin, evolution, structure, and ultimate fate of the universe. It involves several fields such as astronomy, physics, mathematics, and is dedicated to revealing the fundamental properties of the universe. The central questions of modern cosmology include the birth of the universe, the process of evolution, the formation of structures, and the possible future outcome of the universe. 1. The origin of the universe and the Big Bang theory. The most widely accepted model of the origin of the universe in cosmology is the Big Bang theory. According to this theory, the universe began to expand from an extremely dense and hot singularity about 13.8 billion years ago. In the short time following the Big Bang, the universe was extremely hot and filled with elementary particles. As the universe expands and cools, atoms, molecules, stars, and galaxies gradually form. Key observational evidence for the Big Bang theory includes Hubble's law. Astronomer Edwin Hubble observed that almost all galaxies are moving away from Earth, and the farther away galaxies are, the faster they move away. This indicates that the universe is expanding. Cosmic microwave background radiation, CMB. The microwave radiation left over after the Big Bang filled the universe and was an important support for the Big Bang theory. Elemental abundance. The Big Bang model accurately predicts the abundance of light elements such as hydrogen and helium in the universe. 2. Cosmic expansion and dark energy. Cosmologists believe that the universe is not only expanding, but expanding at an accelerated rate. This phenomenon is related to dark energy, a mysterious form of energy that drives the accelerated expansion of the universe. Although we do not yet fully understand the nature of dark energy, it is thought to account for about 68% of the total mass of the universe, energy. 3. The role of dark matter. In addition to dark energy, dark matter is also an important part of cosmology. Dark matter does not emit light and cannot be directly observed, but it has mass, which exerts a gravitational effect on the surrounding matter. Dark matter plays a crucial role in the formation and structure of galaxies. Astronomers have indirectly confirmed the existence of dark matter by observing phenomena such as the rotational speed of galaxies and the gravitational lensing effect of galaxy clusters. Dark matter makes up about 27% of the total mass of the universe. 4. The structure and evolution of the universe. The universe is not evenly distributed, but rather has a bubble-like structure. Galaxies, galaxy clusters, and superclusters form the large-scale structure of the universe, while empty regions have little matter. The formation of this structure is closely related to the expansion of the universe, the gravitational force, and the distribution of dark matter. In the early universe, small density fluctuations gradually developed into today's large-scale structures of the universe under the influence of gravity. The initial state of these density fluctuations can be observed by small temperature differences in the cosmic microwave background radiation. These small temperature differences ultimately determine the formation and distribution of galaxies and galaxy clusters. 5. The future of the universe. The future of the universe depends on the nature of dark energy and the acceleration of the expansion of the universe. Possible outcomes include the Great Tear. If dark energy continues to increase, the expansion of the universe will continue to accelerate, eventually causing everything, including galaxies, stars, planets, and even atoms, to be torn apart by gravitational and electromagnetic forces. Great Cooling. If the universe continues to expand and the dark energy remains stable, and the stars gradually run out of energy, the universe will enter a cold heat death state. The Great Rebound. If the expansion of the universe reverses in the future, begins to contract, and eventually returns to a high-density state similar to the Big Bang, the Great Collapse, it may then experience another Big Bang, the circular universe model. 6. Multiverse theory. Some theoretical physicists have proposed the hypothesis of a multiverse or parallel universe. According to some explanations of quantum mechanics and the theory of scabs, our universe may be just one of a multiverse, and each universe may have different physical constants and laws. The multiverse theory currently lacks direct observational evidence, but it is attractive in explaining the peculiarities of the birth of the universe and fundamental physical constants. 7. The critical questions of the universe. Some of the key unanswered questions in cosmology include the nature of dark matter and dark energy. Although observations indicate their existence, their true origin remains a mystery. The shape and topology of the universe. Is the universe flat, closed, or open? Are there boundaries or other spatial dimensions? The physical state of the early universe. What happened before the Big Bang? How did time and space originate? 8. Observations and experiments. The study of cosmology relies on powerful observational and experimental means. For example, the Hubble Space Telescope and the James Webb Space Telescope provide extremely accurate data for deep space observations. LIGO and the Virgo Gravitational Wave Observatory allow us to observe dramatic events in the universe through gravitational waves. Equipment such as the Particle Collider helps scientists explore the behavior of microscopic particles and help understand the possible nature of dark matter. Source: Wikipedia. Cosmology is the study of the universe as a whole, and by extension, the study of the place of human beings in the universe. Although the term cosmology is recent, the study of the universe has a long history, involving science, philosophy, the occult, and religion. Article 10. Sir Fred Hoyle. Source: ChatGPT. Sir Fred Hoyle, 1915–2001, was an English astronomer and cosmologist best known for his important contributions to cosmology, stellar nucleosynthesis, and the popularization of astronomy. Hoyle was highly controversial and groundbreaking in the scientific community, notably for his opposition to the Big Bang theory, his theory of a steady-state cosmology, and his unique scientific insights. 1. Steady-state theory. One of Hoyle's most famous contributions was the theory of steady state, which was developed by Hoyle in 1948 with his colleagues Hermann Bondi and Thomas Gold. The homeostatic state theory holds that the universe has no beginning and no end, expanding but maintaining the same density. When the distance between galaxies is widened, new matter is created in the voids to fill the sparseness caused by expansion, so that the universe remains unchanged on a large scale. The homeostasis theory was influential in the mid-20th century and became one of the dominant cosmological theories at that time. However, with the discovery of cosmic microwave background radiation and the accumulation of other observational evidence, the homeostatic state theory was gradually replaced by the Big Bang theory. Although the homeostasis theory was abandoned by most scientists, Hoyle has always maintained his views and criticized the flaws of the Big Bang theory. To the origin of the term Big Bang. Ironically, Hoyle inadvertently coined the term Big Bang on a radio show. He used the term Big Bang in a sarcastic tone in his critique of the Big Bang theory, but the term was widely accepted and became the mainstream academic term, which instead gave his critique of the Big Bang theory. 3. Stellar nucleosynthesis theory. Hoyle's work in the field of stellar nucleosynthesis is of epoch-making significance. He studied the processes of nuclear reactions inside stars, explaining how most of the elements in the universe, such as carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, etc., are produced by nuclear fusion reactions inside stars. This discovery has allowed scientists to understand that the chemical elements in the universe are mainly derived from the evolution of stars. Hoyle also proposed the theory of the triple alpha process, which explains how carbon is produced through the fusion of 3 helium nuclei, alpha particles, a reaction that plays a key role in the formation of chemical elements in the universe. Hoyle's theory of nucleosynthesis became one of the foundations of the theory of stellar evolution and had a profound impact. 4. The panspermian hypothesis and the origin of life. Hoyle also offers unique insights into the origin of life. Together with his colleague Chandra Wickramasinghe, he proposed the panspermian hypothesis, suggesting that the origin of life may not be limited to Earth, but spread to Earth through organic molecules carried by celestial bodies such as comets and interstellar dust. They believe that life matter in the universe may be ubiquitous, and that life on Earth is only one of the manifestations. Although this idea is not generally accepted in the mainstream biology community, some studies in recent years have found complex organic molecules in interstellar dust, which has brought this hypothesis back to attention. 5. Critical and unique scientific perspectives. Hoyle was controversial for his maverick academic attitude. Although his work in many areas was groundbreaking, his critical attitude towards some mainstream scientific views, particularly his continued opposition to the Big Bang theory, led to some criticism in the academic community. His critical approach to science, his quest for evidence, and his refusal to accept theories he disagreed with were influential in the scientific community. 6. Science writing and popular science. In addition to his professional research, Hoyle is also a prolific science writer and science fiction writer. His works include science fiction novels such as The Black Cloud and A for Andromeda, as well as several popular science books on cosmology. He introduced cosmology and astronomy in plain language, sparked public interest in the universe and encouraged science enthusiasts to think critically. 7. Influence on modern cosmology. Although Hoyle was controversial during his lifetime for his unique scholarly views, his contributions to stellar nucleosynthesis and the origin of life have had a profound impact on modern cosmology. His research on elemental formation laid a solid foundation for modern astrophysics, and his panspermian theory opened up new possibilities for human exploration of life in the universe. Source: Wikipedia. Sir Fred Hoyle, June 24, 1915 – August 20, 2001, was a British astrophysicist. He was one of the first physicists to theorize the process of stellar nucleosynthesis. In addition to astrophysics and cosmology, Hoyle has conducted research in the fields of Stonehenge's uses, nuclear energy use, and the Ice Age. He has also written several academic monographs, popular science books, science fiction novels, television series, and an autobiography. Many of Hoyle's research results do not conform to what is considered orthodox scholarship. Despite this, he is still considered one of the influential scientists of the 20th century. Article 11. Sir Roger Penrose. Source: ChatGPT. Sir Roger Penrose, born 1931, was a renowned British mathematician, physicist, and cosmologist, known for his pioneering contributions to general relativity, quantum gravity, black hole physics, cosmology, and mathematical geometry. He is one of the pioneers of modern physics and mathematics and has received many awards and honors for his profound theoretical research and rich academic achievements. 1. Penrose figures and geometry. One of Penrose's mathematical contributions is the Penrose tiling and Penrose impossible objects. Penrose is an aperiodic pattern, non-repetitive arrangement, that completely covers a plane, and these figures demonstrate the potential properties of aperiodic crystals and geometry. Penrose's impossible figure is a visually confusing image that, although it is not possible to achieve in space, produces seemingly three-dimensional wrong objects on a flat surface. These graphics have not only had a profound impact on the art world, but have also provided inspiration for research in theoretical physics, mathematics, and computer science. 2. Black holes and general relativity. One of Penrose's most famous contributions is in the fields of black hole physics and general relativity. His research is essential for understanding the nature of black holes and extreme phenomena in the universe. In particular, in 1965, he proposed the famous Penrose process, which explained how black holes could theoretically produce energy by absorbing matter and releasing energy. The Penrose process shows that black holes do not only swallow matter, but may also release energy in certain situations. Penrose also proposed the Penrose diagram, that is, the space-time structure diagram in general relativity, and using this theoretical tool, he showed that there is a singularity inside the black hole, which is a region with extremely high space-time density and curvature, where the laws of physics cannot be applied, and has become an important research topic of general relativity. 3. Penrose theory and cosmology. Penrose's cosmological theory is particularly concerned with the origin, evolution, and future fate of the universe. He proposed a model of a circular universe, a theory that showed that the universe was not unique, but went through multiple cycles of Big Bang and Big Bang. Penrose believed that the history of the universe was a cyclical process, and that each Big Bang would lead to a new universe. This view, unlike the traditional Big Bang theory, provides a new model of the universe that explores the nonlinearity and complexity of the universe. 4. Quantum gravity and the Penrose-Hawking inequality. Penrose also made important contributions to the study of quantum gravity. The theory of quantum gravity attempts to combine quantum mechanics and general relativity to explain the connection between the microscopic world and the macrocosm. Together with Stephen Hawking, Penrose proposed the famous Penrose-Hawking inequality, which is an important result of general relativity, which shows that the curvature in spacetime cannot be infinite under certain conditions, and provides mathematical support for the existence of black hole singularities. 5. Geometric perspective of gravity. Another important achievement of Penrose was his geometric description of gravity. Penrose and Hawking studied the singularity theorem in general relativity, proving that under some extreme conditions in the universe, the curvature of space and time will become infinite, thus forming the singularity of black holes, which has become an important theoretical basis for physicists to study black holes. Penrose's research also provides a theoretical framework for the information paradox of black holes. 6. Penrose theory and consciousness. In addition to his contributions to physics and cosmology, Penrose also made seminal work in the study of consciousness. In his book The Emperor's New Mind, he proposed the idea of quantum consciousness, arguing that the generation of consciousness is not just the simple activity of neurons, but may also involve quantum mechanical phenomena. Together with neuroscientist Stuart Hameroff, he developed the theory of microtubule quantum consciousness, arguing that microtubules within the brain may be the basis of quantum computing and may play a key role in the formation of consciousness. 7. Awards and honors. For his outstanding academic achievements, Penrose has received many international awards and accolades, including 2020 Nobel Prize in Physics. Penrose was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics for his contributions to the physics of black holes, in particular for proving the existence of singularities in black holes. His research has deepened the understanding of black holes, gravity, and the structure of space-time. He is also a Fellow of the Royal Society and has received several international awards, including the Wolf Prize and the Copley Prize. 8. Influence and scholarly perspectives. Penrose's scholarly views and theories not only influenced the development of physics and mathematics, but also expanded into the fields of philosophy and cognitive science. He emphasized the philosophical aspects that exist in science, especially in the areas of consciousness, physical laws, and the origin of the universe, and offered many deep reflections. Although some theories remain controversial, Penrose has undoubtedly provided a wealth of innovative perspectives and tools for the academic community. Source: Wikipedia. Sir Roger Penrose, OM, FRS, born August 8, 1931, is a British mathematical physicist and Rouse Ball Professor of Mathematics Emeritus at the University of Oxford. He is highly regarded for his research in mathematical physics, especially in general relativity and cosmology. He was also an entertaining mathematician and controversial philosopher. Roger Penrose is the son of scientists Lionel Penrose and Margaret Leith, and the brother of mathematician Oliver Penrose and chess master Jonathan Penrose. He was awarded the 2020 Nobel Prize in Physics for proving that the formation of black holes conforms to the predictions of general relativity. Article 12. Martin John Rees, Baron Rees of Ludlow. Source: ChatGPT. Baron John Rees, Baron of Ludlow, born in 1942, is a renowned British cosmologist and astronomer who has made outstanding contributions to cosmology, astrophysics, and science policy. Baron Rees has served as President of the Royal Astronomical Society, Professor of Astronomy and Cosmology at the University of Cambridge, a Fellow of the Royal Society, and is a leader in a number of important academic research and projects. 1. Career and academic background. Rees completed his academic studies at Cambridge University and began his studies in astronomy and cosmology in the 1960s. His research in the field of astronomy is known for his in-depth exploration of the structure, origins, and fate of the universe, especially black holes, dark matter, dark energy, and large-scale structure. Rees's work is not limited to theoretical physics, but also includes contributions to the observation of the universe, and he has been involved in several important astronomical observation projects. 2. Contributions of cosmology and astrophysics. One of Rees's research focuses on the structure of the large-scale universe and the origin and evolution of the universe. He has put forward many theoretical views on cosmology, especially in the study of dark matter and dark energy. The large-scale structure of the universe, Rees, together with other scientists, studied the distribution patterns of galaxies and galaxy clusters in the universe, and proposed the formation and evolution of the structure of the universe. His research has helped the scientific community better understand galaxies, how galaxy clusters form under gravitational influence, and the origins of the large-scale structure of the universe. Dark matter and dark energy. Rees was one of the early leaders in dark matter and dark energy research. The existence of dark matter and dark energy has always been a major mystery in modern cosmology, and Rees has proposed and supported many theories about these mysterious substances, especially their profound impact on the evolution of the universe. Black holes and cosmology. Rees's research has also made important contributions to cosmological phenomena such as black holes and gravitational waves. He explored the formation of black holes, their properties, and their role in the structure of the universe, and proposed some forward-looking theories that advanced the field. 3. The future of the universe and popular science work. Rees is concerned about the future of the universe, and in several books he discusses how humanity is inextricably linked to the fate of the universe. In books such as Our Cosmic Habitat, Rees delves into the fate of the universe, the conditions for life to exist, and how humanity connects to the long-term future of the universe. He also has a great deal of influence in science popularization, especially in science policy and public understanding of science. He has been involved in many international science policy discussions to promote scientific research, technological progress, and global scientific cooperation. 4. Reflections on science and technology. Rees was not only interested in the academic study of astronomy and cosmology, but also deeply considered the impact of scientific and technological progress on society. He provides insights into the ethics of science and technology, global challenges such as climate change, energy crisis, and the potential of artificial intelligence. Lisbon is extremely cautious and forward-looking about the impact of technological futures, believing that humanity must pay more attention to the risks and opportunities brought by technological developments, especially in areas such as quantum computing and artificial intelligence. 5 Honours and Awards. Rees is an authoritative figure in the UK and international scientific community, having received numerous honours and awards. His major accolades include Fellow of the Royal Society, 1992. Royal Medal. Popular Science Prizes, e.g. multiple accolades in the UK Science Awards. He has also chaired the UK's Science and Technology Council and has been involved in a number of important international research committees. 6 Philosophical Perspectives and Future Warnings. Rees also makes a number of interesting points in terms of philosophy and the future of humanity. He believes that science is not only a tool to solve technical problems, but also about human understanding of the universe and the search for the meaning of life. He expressed deep concern about the ethical aspects of future technologies, especially warnings about potential risks in areas such as artificial intelligence, nuclear weapons, and biotechnology. He argues that we must be cautious about the dramatic changes brought about by technology and ensure that these technologies serve the long-term interests of humanity rather than bring catastrophic consequences. 7 Important publications. Our Cosmic Habitat. In this book, Rees discusses fundamental issues in cosmology, including the structure of the universe, dark matter, dark energy, and more. The End of the Beginning, the nature of life in the universe. This book explores the origins of life and the possibility of life in the universe, and raises many questions about life, deep thoughts on the future of the universe and technology. The Future of Life. Rees explores the global challenges facing humanity, such as environmental issues, resource scarcity, and the ethics of technology, and calls for a greater balance between technology and morality. Source: Wikipedia. Martin John Rees, Baron Rees of Ludlow, OM, FRS, also translated as Martin Rees, born June 23, 1942, was a British theoretical astronomer, mathematician, and former president of the Royal Society. Rees is the author of more than 500 scientific papers. Rees has made many important contributions to the origins of cosmic microwave background fallout. Rees also made important contributions to the origin, formation, and distribution of the Silver River System. Rees is an authority on quasars. The Rees system studied the distribution of quasars and refuted the theory of state equilibrium. In 1971, Rees proposed that radio galaxies derive their energy from quasars at their center. Rees also proposed that giant black holes are a source of energy for quasars. Article 13. Hawking radiation. Source: ChatGPT. Hawking radiation is a theory proposed by the famous physicist Stephen Hawking in 1974 that describes the process by which a black hole radiates energy at the quantum level through quantum effects and gradually loses mass. The importance of Hawking radiation lies in the fact that it not only reveals that black holes are not completely dark, but also provides key clues to the study of quantum gravity theory, challenging conventional notions of physics. 1. The origin of Hawking radiation, quantum effects and virtual particle pairs. Hawking radiation originates from a basic principle of quantum field theory. In a vacuum, space is not completely empty, but is filled with virtual particle pairs that are constantly being generated and annihilated. These pairs of virtual particles usually exist for a very short period of time and then immediately annihilate, maintaining conservation of energy. Quantum effects become particularly pronounced near the event horizon of black holes. The event horizon is the boundary of a black hole, and once any matter or radiation crosses the interface, it cannot escape the black hole's gravitational pull. Hawking pointed out that the strong gravitational field of black holes can affect the formation of these virtual particle pairs, causing certain virtual particle pairs to be pulled apart. One particle is sucked into the black hole, and the other particle is released into outer space as the radiation we observe. 2. Nature of radiation. The characteristics of Hawking radiation are Thermal radiation. This radiation is released in the form of thermal radiation, which is why it is also known as black hole thermal radiation. This means that the black hole itself has a temperature, and the temperature is related to the mass and size of the black hole. Smaller black holes are hotter and larger black holes are hotter. Separation of particle pairs. When a pair of virtual particles forms near the event horizon of a black hole, one particle is attracted to the black hole and the other escapes, forming outward emitted radiation. The escaping particles can be any type of particle, such as photons, electrons, positrons, etc., but their energy is related to the mass of the black hole, temperature, and other factors. Hawking's radiation theory suggests that black holes are actually capable of emitting particles and gradually evaporating off their mass, possibly disappearing altogether. This phenomenon is known as black hole evaporation. 3. The process of black hole evaporation. Since Hawking radiation causes black holes to radiate energy, particles, the mass and energy of black holes gradually decrease over time. This process is known as black hole evaporation. For massive black holes, this process is very slow and can take longer than the age of the universe to evaporate completely. However, for smaller black holes, such as the theoretically possible microblack holes, they radiate more intensely and evaporate faster. 4. Influence on physics. Hawking radiation is the product of the combination of quantum mechanics, general relativity, and thermodynamics, and has had a profound impact on several areas of physics. Black hole information paradox. Hawking radiation raises an important scientific question known as the black hole information paradox. According to quantum mechanics, information is supposed to be conserved, but Hawking radiation causes the black hole to gradually lose mass, which seems to erase the material information that falls into the black hole, which conflicts with the basic principle of quantum mechanics: information is never lost. This paradox has not been solved to this day and is a central problem in modern physics. Quantum gravity research. Hawking radiation is an important clue to the exploration of quantum gravity, which shows that quantum effects can have a significant impact in extreme gravitational environments, such as near black holes. Although a complete theory of quantum gravity has not yet been formed, Hawking radiation provides inspiration for further research in this field. Thermodynamic properties of black holes. Hawking radiation is also closely related to the thermodynamic properties of black holes, especially the entropy and temperature of black holes. By studying the radiation and thermodynamic behavior of black holes, Hawking proposed the famous black hole information paradox and the relationship between black holes and the second law of thermodynamics. 5. Experimental verification. Although Hawking radiation is a theoretical prediction, it has not been directly observed. This is because the temperature of the black hole is extremely low, resulting in extremely weak radiation, well below the temperature of the cosmic background radiation. Nonetheless, scientists hope that the presence of Hawking radiation can be verified in the future through circumstantial evidence and advanced observation techniques. In addition, scientists are experimenting with similar phenomena through simulation experiments, using simulation systems, such as experimental setups that simulate black holes. Source: Wikipedia. Hawking radiation is a type of thermal radiation emitted by black holes, which is speculated by the theory of quantum effects. This theory was proposed by physicist Stephen Hawking in 1974. With the theory of Hawking radiation, it is possible to explain how the mass of black holes decreases, leading to the phenomenon of black hole evapotranspiration. Black holes lose mass due to Hawking radiation, and when the black hole loses more mass than it gains, the black hole shrinks and eventually disappears. Smaller microblack holes usually emit more radiation than normal black holes, so the former shrinks and disappears faster than the latter. Hawking's analysis quickly became the first convincing theory of quantum gravity, although the presence of Hawking radiation has not yet been actually observed. In June 2008, NASA launched the GLAST satellite, which can look for flashes of gamma rays in evaporating black holes. In the extra-dimensional theory, the collision of energetic particles may also create microblack holes that disappear on their own. In September 2010, the results of a gravity simulation study were considered by some scientists to be the first to demonstrate the possible existence and possible nature of Hawking radiation. However, Hawking radiation has not yet been actually observed. Article 14. Singularity Theory. Source: ChatGPT. Singularity theory is a theoretical framework for the study of the phenomenon of the singularity that occurs in physics, mathematics, and cosmology. In these places, the laws of physics fail and existing mathematical models and physical theories can no longer be applied. Singularities are often associated with extreme conditions, extremely high densities, and temperatures, which are the inevitable mathematical and physical structures that describe extreme cosmic events such as black holes and the Big Bang. 1. Singularities in general relativity. In general relativity, the singularity usually refers to the place where the curvature of spacetime becomes infinite. In these places, the existing theories of physics cannot describe what happened. The most famous singularities are the black hole singularity and the Big Bang singularity. Black hole singularity: the center of a black hole is considered a singularity, often referred to as a gravitational singularity. Within the event horizon of a black hole, the curvature and density of spacetime become infinite, and existing laws of physics, such as gravity and quantum mechanics, cannot describe the behavior of matter and energy here. The black hole singularity is where matter and radiation are compressed to an infinitesimal volume, and general relativity predicts the existence of this, but scientists have not yet been able to provide an exact understanding of the black hole singularity. Big Bang singularity: according to the Big Bang theory, the universe began to expand from an infinitely small, infinitely dense singularity about 13.8 billion years ago. This is the starting point of the birth of the universe, where all matter and energy are concentrated in a single point, and the scale and density of spacetime are infinite. The Big Bang singularity represents the state of extreme conditions at the beginning of the universe, but scientists are currently unable to accurately describe the physical processes at this stage. 2. Mathematical description of the singularity. The mathematical description of the singularity usually relies on the Einstein field equations in the general theory of relativity. These equations describe how matter and energy affect the geometry of spacetime. However, when the curvature of spacetime becomes infinitely large at certain points, problems arise with mathematical solutions that indicate that physics loses its validity at these points. Kerr-Newman solution: when describing rotating black holes, Kerr black holes, and charged black holes, Newman black holes, the Einstein equations give the location and characteristics of spacetime singularities. Poincare singularity: when studying spacetime singularities in general relativity, mathematicians use the Poincare singularity theory to understand different types of singularities. 3. The black hole singularity and the information paradox. The black hole singularity is a highly controversial concept in cosmology. It's not just a physics puzzle, it's about the famous black hole information paradox. According to quantum mechanics, information should be conserved in physical processes, but black holes seem to devour all matter, and information seems to be lost. In Hawking's radiation theory, the loss of information remains an unsolved mystery despite the gradual evaporation of black holes, leading to an in-depth debate in the academic community about singularities and black holes. 4. Gravitational singularity and quantum gravity. Under extreme conditions, such as inside a black hole or at the starting point of the Big Bang, classical general relativity cannot fully explain the phenomenon. Scientists have come up with the theory of quantum gravity to try to solve this problem. Quantum gravity attempts to combine quantum mechanics with general relativity to provide a completely new theory of the behavior of matter in extreme gravitational environments. One of the goals of quantum gravity is to solve the singularity problem. Theories such as string theory and ring quantum gravity attempt to describe and explain physical phenomena that occur in extreme gravitational fields, such as the singularity of black holes. These theories suggest that the singularity may not be completely invalid as described by classical general relativity, and that there may be a new structure to describe such extremes. 5. Time travel and singularity. In the opinion of some theoretical physicists, the possibility of time travel is also related to the singularity. According to Einstein's general theory of relativity, certain space-time structures, such as wormholes, may allow time travel. However, these wormholes often involve the concept of singularities and the phenomenon of closing the time curve, which could theoretically lead to the paradox of time travel. Closed time curve. A closed time curve is a special space-time path that allows an object to travel back in time to a point in time. Such a path, which usually involves extreme space-time curvatures or singularities, may theoretically provide a pathway for time travel, but due to various paradoxes, it is still inconclusive whether it is actually possible. 6. The philosophical and scientific challenges of the singularity. The limits of physics. The singularity marks the boundaries of physics, and scientists believe that these places may be the limits of modern physical theories, beyond which a new physical theory is needed. For example, quantum gravity may be the key to solving these problems, but a complete theory of quantum gravity has not yet been formed. The nature of time and space. The study of the singularity challenges our fundamental understanding of time, space, and matter. It reminds us that the universe may exhibit properties that are unimaginable to us under some extreme conditions, and may even involve phenomena that surpass current scientific knowledge. Source: Wikipedia. Gravitational singularity, also known as spacetime singularity or singularity, is a point at which the laws of physics as we know it are infinitely small, dense, gravitational, and spacetime. For example, the center of a black hole and the initial singularity before the great thunderbolt of the universe. Current theories speculate that when an object falls into a black hole and approaches the central singularity, the object is elongated by the increased attraction of different parts, and becomes a tidal force or noodle and eventually loses dimension altogether and irretrievably disappears into the singularity. Outside observers will observe this event completely differently from a safe distance. According to the theory of relativity, an outside observer will see that the object becomes slower and slower as it approaches the black hole, eventually stopping completely in the event horizon without actually falling into the black hole. The existence of singularities is often used as proof of the failure of general relativity, which is to be expected, given the presence of singularities in situations where quantum effects are significant. It is conceivable that in the future, some joint theory with quantum gravity, such as the current superstring theory and the circle quantum gravity theory, will not need to explain black holes with singularities, but this theory will need to be verified for many years. According to the cosmic censorship hypothesis, the singularity of a black hole remains hidden behind the event horizon, and the light within the event horizon cannot escape, so it cannot be directly observed. The only exception allowed by the hypothesis, called the naked singularity, is the great thunderbolt at the beginning of the universe, at which general relativity and quantum mechanics fail because the initial state of the universe before the great thunderbolt is a singularity, but quantum mechanics does not actually allow particles to occupy space smaller than their own wavelength. The two most important types of spacetime singularities are curvature singularities and conical singularities. General relativity predicts that singularities exist within black holes. Any star that collapses to less than its Schwarzschild radius due to gravity will form a black hole, producing a singularity surrounded by an event horizon. Again, the theory of black hole formation does not take quantum mechanics into account, and this singularity is called a curvature singularity. Some mathematical derivations point out that matter will be destroyed by singularities, disappear into three-dimensional space, and exist on the surface of a black hole in two-dimensional form, and its two-dimensional data can theoretically be reproduced in three-dimensional space. This has led scientists to speculate that the world is actually two-dimensional data, and that three-dimensional space may simply be projected by two-dimensional data. Due to the nature of the singularity, it is possible that we will never be able to fully describe or understand the singularity at the center of a black hole. Although observers can send signals to the center of the black hole, it is still difficult to obtain information inside the black hole, and so far they can only rely on theoretical speculation alone, and it is impossible to obtain experimental data to prove that the singularity does exist. Article 15. Singularity theorem. Source: ChatGPT. Singularity theorem is an important theorem proposed by famous mathematicians and physicists Roger Penrose and Stephen Hawking. Singularity phenomena that can occur under certain extreme conditions in space-time, such as the initial state of a black hole or the Big Bang. 1. The core concept of the singularity theorem. The basic idea of the singularity theorem is that there must be a singularity in spacetime under certain conditions. These singularities are extreme states of spacetime, in which the density of matter and energy becomes infinite, and existing laws of physics, such as general relativity and quantum mechanics, cannot effectively describe the behavior of matter at this time. 2. The spacetime singularity in general relativity. According to the general theory of relativity, the mass and energy of an object bends the surrounding spacetime, and this bending affects the movement of matter and energy. Under extreme conditions, the curvature of spacetime becomes extremely intense, eventually forming the so-called singularity. At these points, the density and curvature will become infinite, and existing physical theories cannot deal with such states. 3. Penrose's singularity theorem. Roger Penrose proposed his singularity theorem in 1965, specifically for the formation of black holes. Penrose's theorem suggests that if an object is massive enough and gravitational collapse occurs, then a singularity will inevitably form at the core of the black hole. In this process, all matter that enters the event horizon of the black hole will eventually be compressed to a point with infinite density and curvature. The key conditions of Penrose's singularity theorem are: there must be a gravitational collapse process, such as the collapse of a star or the expansion of the early universe. Spacetime must meet some appropriate conditions, which usually include the condition of not crossing the singularity, i.e., no spacetime path can escape the effects of the singularity. This theory suggests that the center of a black hole does form a singularity, a region of extreme gravity, where all matter is compressed to an infinitesimal point. 4. The Hawking-Penrose odd point theorem. In 1970, Stephen Hawking and Roger Penrose jointly proposed a Hawking-Penrose singularity theorem, which further revealed the conditions for the existence of singularities in spacetime and expanded Penrose's singularity theory. The main elements of the theorem are: if an object collapses gravitationally and forms a black hole, the object will eventually cause a singularity to form. The theorem also shows that in the case of the Big Bang, the initial state of the universe can be seen as a singularity, with all matter and energy concentrated in an extremely small volume. 5. Application and impact of the singularity theorem. Formation and nature of black holes. The singularity theorem provides a theoretical basis for our understanding of the core of black holes, showing that a black hole is not just a region of strong gravity, but a spacetime rift in which the matter inside is compressed to a singularity. Penrose's work laid the groundwork for the study of black holes, especially for understanding their intrinsic singularity properties. The Big Bang theory. According to Hawking and Penrose's singularity theorem, the origin of the universe can also be traced back to a singularity. The Big Bang theory holds that all the matter and energy in the universe was concentrated in an extremely tiny area at the origin of the universe, resulting in an initial state of extreme heat and high density. This singularity represents the starting point of spacetime and the laws of physics, which later formed the current state of the universe through expansion. Combination of gravity and quantum theory. The singularity theorem emphasizes the role of gravity under extreme conditions, but it also exposes the current contradiction between general relativity and quantum mechanics. At the singularity, gravity and quantum effects come into play at the same time, which is one of the reasons why scientists are trying to find a theory of quantum gravity. 6. Philosophical and scientific challenges. The limits of physics. The singularity theorem reveals the limits of spacetime and the behavior of matter, i.e., under certain extreme conditions, existing physical theories can be completely invalidated. It is not only a physical puzzle, but also a challenge to philosophy and science. How do we understand the origin of the universe, the nature of black holes, and the infrastructure of time and space? Black hole information paradox. With the introduction of the singularity theorem, scientists began to discuss an important paradox, the black hole information paradox. According to quantum mechanics, information should not be lost, but a black hole seems to be able to devour all information and even disappear it into the singularity. This paradox challenges our understanding of the laws of physics and remains an important research problem in modern physics. Source: Wikipedia. The Penrose-Hawking singularity theorems is the result of some research into the question of when a gravitational singularity occurs in general relativity. The singularity of the solution of Einstein's field equation refers to the following two problems. A situation in which matter is compressed to a point, empty singularity. When light emits from an infinite curvature, time-like singularity. The space-like singularity is one of the characteristics of the spin-free black hole, while the time-like singularity appears in the exact solution of the loaded black hole or the rotating black hole, both of which have the following properties. Geodesic incompleteness: the photon path or particle path must not exceed a specific intrinsic time or affine parameter. The affine parameter can be thought of as an analog of the intrinsic time. Article 16. Timing protection conjecture. Source: ChatGPT. The chronology protection conjecture is a conjecture proposed by the famous theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking in 1992, which mainly involves time travel and the law of causality, i.e., the causality of events. The core idea of this conjecture is that there is a mechanism in the universe that can prevent time travel from leading to causal paradoxes, maintain the consistency of time, and thus protect the causal structure of the universe from being destroyed. 1. Time travel theory. The concept of time travel is widely explored in science fiction works, but in physics, it deals with many philosophical and theoretical issues. One of the most well-known paradoxes is the causal paradox, also known as the grandfather paradox. This paradox describes a situation in which a time traveler goes back in time and changes history, assuming that the time traveler killed their grandfather in the past, then they themselves could not have been born, so that there is a contradiction that the time traveler does not exist and exists. If time travel is possible and the past can be changed, then these paradoxical situations can arise that break the laws of cause and effect, cause the laws of physics to no longer apply, or even destabilize the universe. 2. Submission of timing protection conjecture. Stephen Hawking proposed the temporal preservation conjecture in order to solve the causal paradox that time travel may bring. He argues that while general relativity and certain cosmological models allow for the theoretical possibility of time travel, e.g., through wormholes or the formation of closed curves of time through wormholes or bending space-time, the universe itself prohibits or prevents such paradoxes from occurring through some mechanism. Hawking's conjecture is summarized as follows: there will be some mechanism in the universe that prevents time travelers from changing history in some way and avoiding the occurrence of causal paradoxes. Specifically, this mechanism may be the result of some natural process or physical phenomenon that prevents the viability or stability of time travel. 3. The physical background of the temporal protection conjecture. The physical background of the temporal protection conjecture can be traced back to the combination of general relativity and quantum mechanics. According to the general theory of relativity, the structure of spacetime can be bent by the mass and energy of objects, potentially forming a path for time travel, e.g., through a wormhole. But there are some inherent self-consistency problems with these time travel paths, such as how to maintain causality and how to solve the singularity problem. Hawking argues that while mathematical solutions in general relativity may theoretically have a time travel case, these solutions may not be stable in reality. For example, wormholes and closed time curves in some models may collapse or collapse at some point in spacetime due to quantum effects or gravitational forces, making them unable to serve as a stable time travel channel. 4. Mechanism of timing protection. Stephen Hawking did not explicitly give a detailed physical explanation of the timing protection mechanism, but he suggested that the universe may have some kind of self-protection mechanism against the closed time curve of time travel. According to some studies, this mechanism may include quantum effects. Some quantum effects, such as quantum fluctuations, may be enough to destroy or prevent the formation of closed time curves in spacetime, preventing time travel from occurring. Spatiotemporal instability: when the curvature of spacetime is extremely distorted, it may lead to the natural collapse of the spacetime structure, such as wormholes, which in some cases collapse instantaneously and cannot form stable channels. Cosmological limitations: the universe may have some mechanism, such as the effect of quantum gravity, to maintain the self-consistency of the universe and prevent the paradoxes of time travel in the early or extreme conditions. 5. Stephen Hawking's experimental views. Stephen Hawking's time series protection conjecture suggests that if time travel is really possible, there should have been some evidence in the universe. Since time travel raises many historical and causal paradoxes, he proposes that if future time travelers are able to travel back in time, then they should be able to leave some direct evidence or trace. However, so far, scientists have not found any direct evidence from future travelers, which Hawking believes may be because the universe's timing protection mechanism has ruled out the possibility of time travel. 6. Impact on science. The temporal protection conjecture not only poses a new challenge for physicists to understand the structure of space-time, but also triggers in-depth discussions on cosmology and causality. This conjecture is closely related to quantum gravity, wormhole theory, black hole physics and other fields. Hawking's conjecture suggests that even if general relativity allows mathematical solutions for time travel to exist, the self-healing and stabilizing mechanisms of the universe itself may prevent these solutions from appearing in reality, thus avoiding the occurrence of causal paradoxes. In addition, the temporal protection conjecture has also stimulated research in the fields of quantum gravity and squeal theory, which attempt to describe and understand the role of gravity at the quantum level, which may provide clues to explain the temporal protection mechanism. 7. The philosophical significance of the temporal protection conjecture. The temporal protection conjecture is not only a physical proposition, but also has important philosophical implications. It provokes deep thinking about issues such as free will, the passage of time, the causal structure of the universe, and more. If the universe is able to prevent the causal paradoxes triggered by time travel, then this means that the universe may maintain its stability and consistency to some extent, avoiding the conflict between free will and determinism. Source: Wikipedia. The chronology protection conjecture is a hypothesis proposed by physicist Stephen Hawking that as yet unknown laws of physics outside of standard general relativity do not allow any time travel other than at the microscopic scale, even though general relativity suggests that time travel is theoretically possible, e.g., if it can exceed the speed of light. Mathematically, there are closed time-like curves in some solutions of the field equations of general relativity, indicating that time travel is possible. The temporal preservation hypothesis differs from the cosmic censorship hypothesis, in which each closed time-like curve crosses the event horizon, which may prevent the observer from detecting a violation of the causal law, or temporal violation. Article 17. The Cosmic Judge Hypothesis. Source: ChatGPT. The Cosmic Judge Hypothesis is not a widely accepted mainstream scientific theory, and it is less discussed in the academic community, so information is scarce. But it is often understood as a philosophical or speculative hypothesis that attempts to explore the overall behavior of the universe, the maintenance of the laws of cause and effect, and whether the universe has some kind of judgment or choice mechanism that determines the direction or evolution of the history of the universe. The core ideas of this concept may be related to topics such as the ultimate fate of the universe, the limitation of time travel, the protection of the law of cause and effect, etc. Here are some ideas or explanations that may be related to the cosmic judge hypothesis. 1. Cosmic protection related to the law of cause and effect. In some philosophical and science fiction scenarios, the universe may have a mechanism for self-preservation, like Hawking's temporal protection conjecture, which may be responsible for protecting the law of cause and effect against any event that violates causality. For example, suppose there is some kind of cosmic law or intelligence that can intervene in time travel or alter history in some extreme cases, thus maintaining the natural order of the universe. 2. Selective cosmic evolution. The cosmic judge hypothesis may imply that certain events or decisions are selective in the evolution of the universe, i.e., there is some mechanism or intelligence that guides the universe in a particular direction. This idea may be similar to some cosmological theories, such as the multiverse theory, which holds that different universes may follow different rules, and that cosmic judges may lead certain universes to evolve specific laws and histories. 3. Relationship with philosophy. The cosmic judge hypothesis can also be seen as a philosophical reflection on whether the universe has some kind of intelligence or cosmic consciousness that is capable of making judgments and choices that affect the passage of time, the occurrence of history, or the possibility of the future. This view may be relevant to the discussion of determinism and free will. For example, if there is some kind of consciousness in the universe, will it purposefully guide events, or will it be able to intervene in the free choice of individuals? 4. Relationship to quantum mechanics and observer effects. In the context of quantum mechanics, the observer effect means that measurement or observation may affect the state of a physical system. In this framework, the role of the cosmic judge may be similar to that of the quantum observer, taking on some role. It observes every event in the universe and decides which events can occur and which ones are prevented or suppressed, thus ensuring that the laws of cause and effect in the universe are not broken. 5. Cosmic referee in science fantasy. In some science fiction novels, the cosmic judge may be a being that transcends time and space, overseeing and ensuring that the universe operates according to certain rules and order. It may be a character similar to a cosmic god, a cosmic arbiter, or a high-level extraterrestrial intelligence, responsible for maintaining the balance of the universe and preventing history from being arbitrarily altered or the natural laws of time and space from being broken. 6. The multiverse and the limitations of time travel. In the multiverse theory, each choice could form a new branch of the universe, so that there would be an infinite number of parallel universes. Assuming that the cosmic judge exists, it may be responsible for judging which branches are correct or acceptable within the framework of the multiverse, and which are likely to be culled to ensure the health or stability of the universe. Source: Wikipedia. In general relativity, the cosmic censorship hypothesis of strong and weak forms was proposed to explain the structure of gravitational singularities mathematically. In the solution of Einstein's field equations, there are singularities that are hidden within the event horizon and therefore cannot be observed from other parts of space-time, as if censored to reveal the full picture. Singularities that are not hidden within the horizon are called naked singularities. The weak form of the cosmic censorship hypothesis speculates that there is no other naked singularity in the universe other than that the Big Bang is a naked singularity. This hypothesis was proposed by Roger Penrose in 1969. There is a difference between the cosmic censorship hypothesis and the so-called chronological censorship. In the latter, each closed-class time curve crosses the event horizon, which may prevent the observer from observing causal violations. Article 18. Universal Laws. Source: ChatGPT. Laws of the universe refer to the laws of nature or physics that are universally applicable throughout the universe, which describe the interrelationships between matter, energy, space, and time, and govern the occurrence of all physical phenomena in the universe. The laws of the universe can be understood from different perspectives, mainly including the fundamental laws in the fields of classical mechanics, relativity, quantum mechanics, thermodynamics, etc. Here are some of the fundamental laws that are thought to govern the behavior of the universe. 1. Newton's three laws of motion, classical mechanics. Newton's laws of motion are the basic laws that describe how macroscopic objects move under the action of forces, and apply to objects of common velocities and scales. First law, law of inertia. If there is no external force acting on it, an object will remain at rest or move in a straight line at a uniform speed. The second law, law of acceleration. The acceleration of an object is directly proportional to the force it is subjected to and inversely proportional to the mass of the object. The third law, the law of action and reaction. Every force has a reaction force of equal magnitude and in opposite directions. These laws are important for describing the motion of celestial bodies, the behavior of objects in everyday life, etc., but they need to be extended and modified by relativity and quantum mechanics in extreme cases, such as high-speed, strong gravitational environments. 2. The law of gravitation, classical gravitation. Proposed by Newton, the law of universal gravitation describes the gravitational force between two objects due to mass. This law is widely used on both everyday and astronomical scales, but at very large masses or velocities, e.g., near black holes, it needs to be modified by Einstein's general theory of relativity. 3. General relativity, a modern theory of gravity. Einstein's theory of general relativity proposed that gravity is not a traditional force, but rather a bending of spacetime due to the mass and energy of objects. Objects move along a curved spacetime trajectory that we observe as the effect of gravity. The core idea of general relativity is that mass and energy bend spacetime, and objects move freely along the spacetime curve. This theory explains not only the motion of celestial bodies, but also the behavior of time and space in strong gravitational fields, such as black holes and the expansion of the universe. 4. The laws of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is the branch of physics that studies energy, heat, and their conversion relationships. The laws of thermodynamics play a vital role in all levels of the universe. The first law, the law of conservation of energy. Energy cannot be created or disappeared out of thin air, it can only be transformed from one form to another. The second law, the law of increasing entropy in an isolated system. Entropy, the degree of chaos in the system, always increases. That is, natural processes are irreversible, and energy is inevitably lost as unusable heat during the transformation process. The third law, absolute zero. As the temperature approaches absolute zero, minus 273.15 degrees Celsius, the entropy of the system tends to a minimum. Theoretically, temperatures at absolute zero cannot be reached. 5. Laws of quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is a theory that describes the behavior of microscopic particles, and it reveals the vast difference between the macroscopic world and the microscopic world. The main laws of quantum mechanics include the principle of quantum superposition. A particle can be in a superposition of multiple states until it is observed before collapsing into a definite state. Uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. The position and momentum of a particle cannot be accurately measured at the same time, and the more precise the measurement, the more uncertain the measurement of the other quantity. Wave-particle duality. Microscopic particles behave as both particles and waves. For example, light can behave as both particles, photons, and waves. These laws reveal the peculiar behavior of the universe at the microscopic scale, especially at the atomic and subatomic levels. 6. Cosmic expansion and dark energy. According to Hubble's law, the universe begins to expand after the Big Bang, and the rate of expansion is proportional to the distance. This discovery means that the history of the universe began in an extremely small, dense state and gradually expanded into the vast universe we observe today. Modern astronomy has also discovered the existence of dark energy, which is thought to be responsible for the accelerated expansion of the universe, although we do not fully understand its nature. 7. The law of conservation. In physics, the law of conformity refers to the fact that certain physical quantities remain constant in a closed system. For example, law of conservation of mass, the mass of an object is conserved in a chemical reaction. Law of conservation of momentum, in the absence of external forces, the total momentum of the system remains constant. Law of conservation of energy, in a closed system, energy is always conserved. These conservation laws are fundamental to the stable functioning of physical phenomena in the universe and are applied to a wide range of situations, from microscopic particles to macroscopic celestial bodies. 8. The philosophical significance of the laws of the universe. The laws of the universe are not only the basis of physics, they also involve many philosophical questions, especially about whether the universe has a purpose or meaning, and whether it follows some kind of design or intention. Some philosophers and scientists have explored whether these laws of the universe were formed by chance, or whether they were determined by some deeper principle or wisdom. For example, is there some kind of design for cosmological constants, such as the existence of dark energy? Source: Blessings on Earth. 1. The law of cause and effect. All laws in the world are inseparable from the law of cause and effect, and the balance of cause and effect is very fair, and very consistent with justice, and the fate of human beings also follows this law, which is the most fundamental law of the universe. It is not only Buddhism that agrees with the law of cause and effect, but also Christianity and Hinduism, among others. No matter what religion you believe, it is as it is the effect, and cause and effect are universal truths. Human thoughts, words, and actions are all causes that produce corresponding effects. Therefore, those who want to cultivate destiny must first understand what kind of language and behavior each of their thoughts will lead to, and what kind of results these words and actions will lead to. 2. The law of attraction. The human mind is always attracted to its consistent reality. If you think that the road of life is full of traps, you are afraid of falling when you go out, you are afraid of traffic accidents when you take a car, and you are afraid of being deceived when you make friends. The reality of this person is a world full of dangers, and if you are not careful, you will really get into trouble. Why is that? The universe itself is made up of energy, and everything attracts at the same frequency. What kind of frequency it emits, what kind of frequency it will attract to you. Like the positive and negative poles of a magnet, opposites attract, and similarities repel. However, there is also a saying that like gathers like things, and two people with the same thoughts can blend with each other and attract each other. Good people can absorb good words, but they will reject evil words. The wicked can absorb bad words, but they reject good words. Therefore, we should absorb the good words, and good deeds of the world, reject evil words, foul language, and false speech. Adjusting one's mind is the basic idea of destiny building. Learn to be a person before doing things, and cultivate your mind when you are a person. 3. The law of relaxation. The best results can only be achieved when the mind is relaxed. Any slackness or impatience in the mindset will bring undesirable results. What is the best state of mind? The answer is that the clearer and more thoughtless, the better. Aim at the desired ideal personality, realm, interpersonal relationship, and life, but don't always worry about when it will come true. Relax your mind, work hard, and do what you need to do, and you will naturally realize your dream step by step. If you are more persistent and anxious, the more you will not be able to get the desired results, and even the more you will be counterproductive. For example, when the power goes out at night on a hot day, I lie in bed sweating profusely and suffering, always thinking about when the electricity will come. Electricity always doesn't come when it's in a hurry. When it's finally fed up, and gradually quiet and stable, it naturally feels cool. When it's about to fall asleep, electricity comes, and suddenly the room is brightly lit, and the electric fan turns up. It's not a coincidence, it's not superstition, it's the law of relaxation. 4. The law of altruism. Altruism means perfecting others and benefiting others. If you think about others everywhere and benefit others, you will benefit yourself in the end. The universe is an incomparably sophisticated actuary. Anything that is given out will eventually come back to you in various forms. When you give and give with a pure heart, and there is no selfish desires and delusions at all, then what you return to your side will also be the purest and richest reward. Buddhism believes that bodhisattvas put altruism first and accomplish self-interest from altruism. That's why the scriptures say, since he has not attained the first time, the bodhisattva has his first heart. The object of altruism is not only human beings, but all living beings. In terms of time, not only the present, but also the future. In terms of space, it is all over the three realms, and does not abandon a single sentient being. In the process of self-interest and altruism, Buddhism emphasizes the selfless spirit of the bodhisattva path, which can be indifferent to fame and fortune, not admiring glory, not selfish desires, not greedy, not discriminating, not attached, as long as it is not harmful to society and can benefit the public. they are willing to do their best to do it responsibly, and seek real welfare for the public. The person who fulfills the achievements of others, and finally achieves the greatest achievement, is also himself. 5. The principle of loving yourself. One day, the king of Boston, who had taken refuge in the Buddha, had often visited the Buddha, and one day he asked the Buddha, "What kind of person is one who truly loves himself? What's the deal with not loving yourself? I have come to the conclusion that whoever does something bad in his deeds, if he speaks ill in words, if he has evil thoughts in his heart, he is not a person who loves himself, because he treats himself like a person who does not love himself." King Bosnian continued, "On the contrary, if one does good deeds and speaks good words and has good thoughts in his heart, he is one who truly loves himself. I don't know if that's the right idea." The Buddha listened to King Bosnia's words and said with deep approval, "O king! As you said, if you do evil with your body, mouth, and mind, then you are not a person who truly loves yourself. If you do good deeds with your body, your mouth, and your mind, then that person is the one who truly loves herself." 6. The principle of forgiveness. Historically, many religious saints, such as the Buddha forgave the heinous Devadatta, Jesus forgave Judas who betrayed himself. It is not that they do not distinguish between good and evil, good and bad, but it is the heart of the Holy One that allows us to see the beauty of forgiveness. First of all, you need to forgive your parents, and no matter what bad things your parents have done, you must completely forgive them. Second, forgive those who have hurt you. Remember, you don't need to be a shoulder to shoulder, a grin, or a good friend with them, just simply and completely forgive them to cut down the roots of the tree of negativity. Third, forgive yourself. No matter what bad things you have done in the past, you must sincerely repent, and you need to correct rather than punish your mistakes. Forgiveness are not for others, but for oneself. Forgive others, only in a single thought, in order to achieve true liberation for oneself, in order not to be swallowed up and kidnapped by resentment and negative emotions all the time. 7. The principle of responsibility. Fa Wang Kagan Tan, a sense of responsibility is the noblest sentiment in the world. Responsible people are doers, and irresponsible people, no matter how capable they are mediocre. Life is your own, not someone else's. We need to take responsibility for life, take responsibility for your own choices, take responsibility for your own mistakes, take responsibility for your actions, words, thoughts. When you take a responsible attitude towards yourself, you will be empowered and have the belief that a promise is a life, so that everything can be accomplished. Article 19. The boundaries of the universe. Source: ChatGPT. The boundaries of the universe are a profound and complex issue that involves multiple levels of physics, cosmology, and philosophy. People have long explored the structure, scale, and existence of so-called boundaries in the universe. According to the current scientific understanding, the boundary of the universe can be discussed from different perspectives, involving the finite or infinite nature of space, the boundaries of the observable universe, and the topology of the universe. 1. Observe the boundaries of the universe. The extent of the universe that scientists can observe today is called the observable universe, which refers to the farthest distance that can be reached from the Earth, at the limit of the speed of light. This boundary is determined by the following factors. The limit of the speed of light. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, the speed of light is the fastest propagation speed in the universe. Thus, from the Big Bang, about 13.8 billion years ago, to the present, light has only been able to travel a certain distance. This distance defines the boundaries of the universe that we are currently able to see. Expansion of the universe. Since the universe is expanding, the farthest objects we see do not represent their original positions. Distant galaxies and objects are actually farther away than light travels due to expansion. Therefore, even objects that are 13.8 billion light-years away may be physically located far beyond what we can reach through light propagation. According to current observational data, the observable universe is about 93 billion light-years in diameter. This boundary is not a physical boundary, but a horizon that represents the extent of the universe that we can currently observe. Areas beyond this are invisible to us. 2. The overall size and structure of the universe. Scientists are also exploring whether the universe is finite or whether it has no boundaries. According to the current cosmological model, the standard cosmological model, the universe expanded from the Big Bang, and the expansion may have continued to this day. Is the universe infinite? According to the theory of general relativity and the theory of the expansion of the universe may be infinite on a large scale, which means that the universe itself has no boundaries and space extends infinitely. If the universe is infinite, then it has no obvious boundaries or edges. Is the universe finite? However, there is also the possibility that the universe is finite, but without boundaries, similar to the curvature of the Earth's surface. Under this model, the shape of the universe may resemble a four-dimensional sphere, and although it is finite, there is no physical edge. The universe may be like the surface of the Earth, and even if there are no edges, you can still start from any direction and eventually return to the original point. 3. The topology of the universe. The topology of the universe is a way of describing the overall shape of the universe. According to modern physics, the universe may not unfold in the way we straighten in our everyday experience. It may be bent, or somehow self-connected. In this case, the concept of the boundary of the universe may be different from the boundary in our intuition. Multiverse theory, another way of thinking, is about the multiverse, in which it is assumed that the universe we live in is only one part of a larger cosmic system, with multiple parallel universes. Each universe may have different laws of physics, constants, and histories. Under this assumption, boundaries may imply limitations in our universe beyond which other universes may not be observable by our current scientific methods. 4. The Big Bang and the beginning of the universe. The beginning of the universe is often thought of as the Big Bang, the moment when the universe began to expand from a state of extreme heat and density. The Big Bang was not an explosion event, but the expansion of space-time itself, in which all space expanded. Thus, the boundaries of the Big Bang do not mean a physical boundary, but rather a starting point in time. Origin of space-time. According to general relativity, time and space in the universe began together at the Big Bang moment, so there was no before moment before the Big Bang, and space and time themselves expanded from that point on. 5. The future and boundaries of the universe. There are several theories about the future of the universe that may affect our understanding of the boundaries of the universe. Infinite expansion. If the universe continues to expand, it can lead to a state of heat death, where all matter and energy is eventually evenly distributed, and the universe becomes colder and colder until nothing meaningful physical activity occurs. In this case, the boundary of the universe will not be a definite end point, but a gradual process of physical phenomena coming to a halt. Big Crunch. If the expansion of the universe eventually stops and begins to contract, then the universe will gradually return to an extremely dense state. The process of contraction may pull the boundary of the universe back to a state of end of the universe. Big Rip. If the action of dark energy intensifies, causing the universe to expand at an accelerated pace, this could cause the tearing apart of all objects in the universe, including galaxies, stars, planets, and even atoms, at some point in the future, ultimately leading to the complete deconstruction of the universe. Source: Wikipedia. The observable universe is a spherical space centered on the observer, small enough for the observer to observe objects within that range, meaning that the light emitted by the object has enough time to reach the observer. The most precise estimate of the age of the universe as of 2013 is 13,798 plus or minus 0.37 million years. However, due to the expansion of the universe, the radius of the observable universe is not fixed at 13.8 billion light-years, and the distance of the ancient celestial bodies observed by humans is much farther away than its original position. Measured by proper distance, the inherent distance is equal to the distance in the same movement at the present point in time. It is now estimated that the observable universe has an observable radius of about 46.5 billion light-years and a diameter of about 93 billion light-years. Assuming that the universe is isotropic, the distance from any direction to the edge of the observable universe is roughly equal in every direction. That is, the observable universe is a spherical region centered on the observer. Each location in the universe has its own observable universe, which may or may not overlap with the Earth-centered universe. Observable in this sense has nothing to do with whether modern technology allows us to detect the radiation emitted by an object, but rather to the possibility that the light or other radiation emitted by the object may reach the observer. In fact, we can only observe the surface of last scattering from opaque to transparent at the farthest possible way, but with future technology, it is possible to observe much older cosmic neutron background radiation, and we may even be able to infer information from the detection of gravitational waves. Astrophysicists sometimes distinguish between the visible universe, which includes only information since the recombination period, and the visible universe, which includes information since the expansion of the universe, the end of the Big Bang in traditional cosmology and the inflationary period in modern cosmology. The CO movement distance to the CMBR particles, the radius of the visible universe, is calculated to be about 14 billion parsecs, about 45.7 billion light-years, while the CO movement distance to the edge of the observable universe is about 14.3 billion parsecs, about 46.6 billion light-years, which is about 2% larger. Because since the beginning of the expansion of the universe, the electromagnetic radiation of these objects has had time to reach the solar system and the Earth. There may be 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe, but in 2021, according to New Horizons, that number was estimated to be only a few hundred billion. Article 20. Movie, The Theory of Love. Source, ChatGPT. The Theory of Everything is a 2014 British biographical drama film adapted from the autobiography Travelling to Infinity, My Life with Stephen by writer Jane Hawking. This film is directed by James Marsh and mainly tells the love story between the famous physicist Stephen Hawking and his first wife Jane Hawking, as well as Hawking and ALS. ALS, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, struggle. The main plot. The Theory of Love is set in Hawking's early life, and the story begins during his studies and research at Cambridge University. Hawking had already shown extraordinary talent at a young age and began to study cosmology. That's when he met Jane Hawking, and the two of them developed a deep love. However, Hawking was diagnosed with ALS in 1963, and doctors predicted that he would have only 2 years to live at most. Despite this, Hawking and Jane's love did not die because of this, and Jane still cared for Hawking wholeheartedly after his illness worsened and supported him to continue his academic research. As Hawking's condition deteriorated, Jane also faced tremendous pressure and challenges. Not only did Hawking achieve great academic success and published his famous A Brief History of Time, but his relationship with Jane grew strained, and the two eventually separated, with Hawking later remarrying Elaine, the nurse who cared for him. Main cast: Eddie Redmayne as Stephen Hawking, Felicity Jones as Jane Hawking, Charlie Cox as Robin Hawking, Hawking's friend and mentor. Maxine Alderton plays Hawking's doctor. Movie reviews and achievements. The Theory of Love received extremely high praise, especially praise for the actors' performances, especially Eddie Redmayne's performance. He made detailed preparations for the role, learned how to imitate Hawking's voice and body language, and realistically showed Hawking's gradual loss of athleticism. Redmayne won the 2015 Academy Award for Best Actor. The film has also received several nominations and awards, including the Golden Globe and the British Academy Film Awards, BAFTA, and has been a commercial success worldwide. Theme and meaning. The film not only showcases Stephen Hawking's scientific achievements, but also presents an emotional story between him and Jane, emphasizing the resilience and courage of humanity in the face of difficulties and challenges. Stephen Hawking's story is not only about scientific breakthroughs, but also about love, family, and the meaning of life. The theory of love also reflects Hawking's positive attitude and deep understanding of life, and despite his serious illness, he persevered in his research on the mysteries of the universe and time, and became one of the world's most famous scientists. Source: Wikipedia. The Theory of Everything is a 2014 British romantic biopic directed by James Marsh and written by Anthony McCartan. Based on Jane Wilder Hawking's memoir Travelling to Infinity, My Life with Stephen, she tells the story of her love and life with her ex-husband, theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking. Starring Eddie Redmayne, Felicity Jones, Charlie Cox, Emily Watson, Simon McBurney, and David Thewlis. The film premiered at the Toronto International Film Festival in September 2014 and was released in limited quantities in the United States on November 7, 2014. Eddie Redmayne, who plays Stephen Hawking, won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Drama, the BAFTA Award for Best Actor, the Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Actor, and the 87th Academy Awards for Best Actor. Article 21. Edward John David Eddie Redmayne. Source: ChatGPT. Edward John David Eddie Redmayne is a British actor who has gained international recognition for his outstanding performances in several films. Born on January 6, 1982, Eddie Redmayne grew up in London and holds an art degree from Cambridge University. Since entering the entertainment industry, he has been widely praised for his superb acting skills, strong character-building ability, and versatile performance. Early career. Eddie Redmayne studied art history at Cambridge University and was involved in theatre performances at university. After graduating, he entered the theatre world and participated in many stage productions, which laid a solid foundation for his acting career. He has appeared in a number of productions in London's West End and has received various awards and nominations for his performances in stage plays. Important film works. The Theory of Everything 2014. In this film, Eddie Redmayne plays the famous physicist Stephen Hawking, who successfully interprets Hawking's struggle with ALS and his efforts to break through the field of science. His performance is considered a breakthrough in his career, for which he won the Academy Award for Best Actor. Fantastic Beasts Series 2016. Eddie Redmayne plays Newt Scamander, the protagonist of the Harry Potter series of prequel films created by J.K. Rowling. The character is a maginologist whose adventure story expands the worldview of the Harry Potter universe. Eddie's acting skills give the character a unique charm that makes him one of the central characters in the series. The Danish Girl 2015. In this film, Eddie Redmayne plays Lily Elba, one of the first women in the world to undergo gender reassignment surgery. The performance of this role allowed Redmayne to once again demonstrate his amazing ability to change, for which he was nominated for several awards. The Good Shepherd 2006. In this film, directed by Martin Scorsese, Redmayne plays a relatively small role, and although this is one of his earlier works, he has already shown his potential in complex roles. Awards and recognitions. Eddie Redmayne has won numerous blockbuster awards for his outstanding performances, most notably the 2015 Academy Award for Best Actor, which he won after playing the role of Stephen Hawking in the film The Theory of Love. He was also nominated for a Golden Globe and BAFTA for his performance on The Danish Girl. In addition, Redmayne has won several Independent Film Awards, Critics Association Awards, and other awards. Other businesses. Eddie Redmayne has also ventured into music, showcasing his musical talent in some films. His acting skills are not limited to films, but also include stage plays, and he has won a Tony Award for his performance in the stage play Red. Private life. Redmayne's private life is relatively low-key. He married actress Hannah Baggs-Haw in 2014 and has 2 children. Eddie is passionate about philanthropy and is actively involved in a number of public welfare activities related to children's health, education, and environmental protection. Source: Wikipedia. Edward John David Eddie Redmayne, born January 6, 1982, is an English actor. He began his screen career in the early 2000s, beginning with TV series and films, starting with Animal Arc. In 2010, he continued to perform in theater, most notably on Broadway, where he won the Tony Award for Best Supporting Actor in Theater, and in 2014 he played Stephen Hawking in the James Marsh biopic The Theory of Love, where he won the 72nd Golden Globe Awards, the 68th BAFTA Awards, the 21st Screen Actors Guild Awards, and the 87th Academy Awards for Best Actor. In 2015, he was awarded the OBE by the English Court. In the same year, he was nominated for an Academy Award, Golden Globe, BAFTA, and Screen Actors Guild Award for Best Actor in the film The Danish Girl, in which he played Lily Alber, the first to undergo sex reassignment surgery. Article 22. Hawking believed that God did not exist. Source: ChatGPT. Stephen Hawking has publicly expressed his view of God's existence on several occasions and that the origin and operation of the universe does not depend on a supernatural being. He has made this point in various interviews and books, notably in his 2010 book, The Grand Design, in which Hawking strongly expressed his skepticism of traditional religious views and made the view that the universe did not need God to create and control. Hawking's atheistic views. Hawking believed that the origin and evolution of the universe could be explained by the laws of nature, without the need to assume that there was a God. In particular, he mentions that the universe can be explained by the fundamental principles of quantum mechanics and that the universe may be a spontaneously occurring phenomenon. He believes that a force of nature, such as gravity, is sufficient to explain the origin of the universe. Perspectives in the Grand Design. In the Big Design, Hawking collaborated with physicist Leonard Mlodinow to develop the theory that the universe can be created spontaneously because of gravity. Hawking pointed out that, according to the principles of quantum mechanics, the birth of the universe does not need to depend on external gods or creators, but can occur spontaneously by the natural laws of the universe. He said that the existence of the universe is the result of the laws of nature itself and emphasized that physics provides the means to explain the birth of the universe. Hawking's position is an atheistic one, i.e., he believes that the universe and its order do not require divine intervention or creation. This view is made very clear in the book, where Hawking argues that the origin of the universe as explained by religion is no longer needed by science. For him, the origin and structure of the universe can be understood by the laws of physics, without relying on mysterious supernatural forces. Stephen Hawking's personal beliefs. Hawking has mentioned several times that he does not believe in traditional gods. He argues that the traditional religious view of God as the creator and administrator of the universe and life does not explain the mysteries of the universe according to Hawking. He once said, "The existence of the universe and life does not require a single divine explanation, and we can explain these phenomena by understanding the laws of nature." In some of his interviews, he also pointed out that he himself is an atheist and does not believe in a supernatural being who rules the universe. His attitude towards religion. While Hawking was skeptical of the existence of God, his attitude towards religion and belief was more complex. He does not completely deny the value of religion, but believes that religion should not interfere with scientific understanding. He has expressed on many occasions that religion and science can play different fields, with science exploring the laws of the universe and religion as a guide for human beings in dealing with the meaning of life, morality, and relationships. Stephen Hawking once said in an interview with the BBC, "If God exists, he is a God who does not intervene. He did not interfere in the life of mankind and the operation of the universe." He argues that religious creation stories do not provide us with a true explanation of how the universe works, and points to science as a better way to answer these questions. Particularly, Hawking's 5 major extinction predictions during his lifetime. The Earth becomes fireball. Humans only have 100 years left to immigrate to aliens. Source: Day newspaper Cloud, March 14, 2018. Stephen Hawking, a well-known British physicist, died at the age of 76. His courage, perseverance, and his good and sense of humor have inspired people all over the world, his family said in a statement. Although Hawking was paralyzed by ALS, he still showed his concern for the Earth and the environment many times, and the following are his 5 predictions during his lifetime. 1. The Earth becomes a fireball. Hawking has repeatedly warned that the problem of overpopulation will rapidly consume energy, which will turn the planet into a blazing fireball that will lead to the demise of humanity. Last year, he observed the rate of population growth and predicted that the year 2600 would be the end of humanity's death, and that the best way to escape the catastrophe was to emigrate to the extraterrestrial world. In 2016, Stephen Hawking announced the launch of the Breakthrough Starshot program, which aims to develop small spacecraft to travel to the nearest star system and send back photos. He once mentioned that the essence of human beings is to fly, to continue to move towards the universe. 2. Robots will rule the world. Although artificial intelligence, AI, is the trend of the future, Hawking believes that it should be handled more carefully. We have to promote the development of AI, but we also have to be careful. It is actually very dangerous. In fact, he worries that artificial intelligence will replace humans if someone with the intention of malicious manipulation will be a new way of life that completely surpasses humans. For Stephen Hawking, AI is growing for good or bad, and researchers need to be careful about the ethical issues involved and ensure that robots provide services, not threats. 3. Excessive human aggression and nuclear weapons technology will destroy the world. Speaking at the BBC's 75th birthday celebration, Hawking said that there was no sign of any reduction in conflict, but that humanity continued to develop large-scale military weapons. I am worried that continuous evolution will make human genes appear greedy or aggressive. He also stressed that the best hope for mankind to survive may be an independent colony in space. 4. Humanity has to find another planet to live on in 100 years. The BBC once produced the documentary Expedition New Earth. Expedition New Earth. Hawking predicted that the world has overpopulation, infectious diseases, and other problems. The environment will only become more and more precarious. Human beings have only 100 years left to live on the Earth, and we must quickly study technology to find a new planet in outer space that can survive. 5. Trump's policies will make the Earth a Venus. U.S. President Donald Trump announced his withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement after taking office, drawing the ire of environmentalists. In response, Stephen Hawking strongly expressed his opposition, saying that Trump's decision will bring the planet to the brink of collapse. We are making the phenomenon of global warming irreversible. Trump's move will cause the Earth to collapse like Venus, with temperatures of 250 degrees and sulfuric acid. However, Hawking also said that although climate change is one of the major crises, it can still be prevented if humans take immediate action. He didn't hesitate to shoot at the president, because Trump would inevitably cause damage to the environment, endangering the beautiful planet, us and our children. As one of the brightest stars in science, Hawking's unique insights have shaped modern cosmology and inspired millions of people around the world. In a statement, his child said, "We are very saddened by the passing of our beloved father today. He was a great scientist and an extraordinary man, and his work and legacy will last for many years." Even with ALS, Hawking remains optimistic about life. Compared to the universe, human beings are insignificant, so being mutilated is not a big deal. He has spent his life studying the universe, and his greatest hope is actually that he hopes to die in outer space. Conclusion: there is hope for people as long as they live.